Can you guys hear me okay? You want to try a social experiment?
Sure.
You okay being live from my YouTube channel?
Yeah, for sure.
Can you come a little bit closer so that you're in video? What's your
Sure.
name?
My name's Janis. Janis.
Yanis. Nice to meet you, Yanis. I'm Chip.
Nice to meet you.
So I'm doing a social experiment. I'm trying to find out. I'm trying to test the relation that we have with animals. Do you have a pet companion or?
No, we had to give mine away.
Yeah,
I
I
had two
think-
cats and a dog, not anymore.
Oh, not anymore. But
No.
how did you like him? How did you feel about?
Yeah, of course. Love them.
Love them. Yeah.
Yeah.
What can you tell me about them? What were their names, for example?
Well, the cats were Kira and Fifi.
Kekira and Fifi. Okay.
Yes, and the dog was Kiyomi.
Kiyomi, nice.
Yes,
Good
yeah.
names. So what can you tell me about them? Were they part of your family? Did you consider them part of your family? Did you see them as inferior? Did they have something they liked, something they didn't like?
That's an interesting question. I think they were definitely part of the family because we loved them very much.
Yeah.
And they were in a way equal to us, but at the same time, yeah. Actually, I have never really thought about it that way. I'm
Yeah.
not sure. I think they were part of the family. What do y'all think?
Yeah, of course. They were part of the family. Yeah, of
Yeah.
course.
Yeah.
And yeah. The problem was that my wife has an how do you call that?
Allergy.
Allergy, yeah, an allergy, and that's why we had to give them away.
Okay.
But we loved them very much, and they were like brothers and sisters to us.
Yeah.
Pretty much. Like we really like them.
Yeah. Did they have personalities? Did you
Oh yeah,
notice
they
their
did.
Yeah,
They
of
did
course.
have their own personalities.
Yeah.
Fifi, the black one, was way more introverted and really disliked new people and everything, and always stayed inside the house. And Kira was the opposite. She always went outside the house, always loved new people.
Yeah.
You know, they definitely had their own personalities somehow, their own characters.
Do you think that all animals have personalities?
I'd say yeah, but I think similar to humans, a lot of them fall into certain like archetypes of personalities. You know, like they got some similarity, introverts, extroverts. You know.
I like that. Okay, well, that's a very smart thing to observe. And do you think? So you said that all animals have personalities. Do you think that there are certain animals that within our society we disregard their personalities, their individuality, and we use them strictly like objects?
I mean, if you look at zoos, I feel like
Yeah, zoos is a good point.
yeah, you could see it in many different situations. I mean, look at monkeys in a way. I think they're pretty happy at the end of the day. They just kind of run around, eat bananas, like they have fun. But I think they would be way more better in a natural habitat, right? Where they can actually like evolve their personalities without being like bothered by humans every time they come by a window.
What about the cows, chickens, pigs, the animals that we farm? Do you think
Oh,
they
that's
have
fucked up.
personalities?
I have never talked to I've never interacted enough with a cow or a chicken to know that.
Yeah.
But I do definitely think that it's pretty fucked up how we farm them right now.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, agricultural revolution back then when it started, you know, it was at least more okay. But nowadays, when we talk about the giant factories and everything and how they like standing like 1 meter by 1 meter fucking places, yeah, that's kind of fucked up.
So I would assume you're against factory farming, right? That's what you do. That's what you're saying right now. That's why it's
Yes,
fucked up.
if it could be changed, yeah.
What specifically is fucked up about factory farming? Because in my personal view, I think all sorts of farming of animals is fucked up because all sorts of farming of animals involves some form of lack of body autonomy from animals and some form of killing in the end for something that, well, we deem as needed, but it isn't really needed.
Well, when it comes to factories, it's simple the way they live. Like if you look at a traditional farm,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, they still get killed at the end of the day, but
Yeah.
they live a significantly better life than in a factory farm. I mean, a factory farm, there's shit everywhere. They live in 1 by 1 meters. They literally reproduce every single chance they have. But if you look at a traditional farm, it's way more natural. You want what's it called? Artificial insemination.
Yeah.
You won't artificially inseminate any of them, you know. It's,
Would you be surprised to find out that artificial insemination is actually fairly common in all farms, including small farms, large farms, even backyard farms? Hell, my grandma used to do it, and my grandma's did it in her backyard farm.
I won't be surprised because I think it's nowadays it's a big thing, but
Yeah,
I'd
I
definitely
mean,
be on the side that it shouldn't, you know, that we should go back.
Yeah, so when you're saying we should go back, because the way I see it, a lot of people say they're against factory farming, and the reason for that is because you see it as something horrific, something very unnatural, right? It's something that, oh, I wouldn't want to see this animal in this context, right? And when we look at the normal farm, we see this animal in a better context. We see them on the grass, maybe eating some grass or something. But the reality of their life, you see that one fraction, one snapshot of their life, but maybe the reality of their life, their experience, might not be that different in a factory farm versus a normal farm, right? Because at the end of the day, they get forcefully impregnated in both situations, right? As you said, artificially impregnated. They have their babies taken from them in both situations. They are killed in both situations. And while we can deem as saying some don't have enough space, there's in fact a lot of factory farms that do give enough space to the animals. It's just that you see them in this confined, or I don't know if you've seen this, the way they feed them in a rotating move, in the rotating thingy.
I think so.
Yeah, and it sort of feels to us like so unnatural and so bad, but maybe to them that's not the problem. Maybe to them the problem is the inherent farming, right?
I would agree it's bad, but are there any solutions?
Well, let me ask you this, because do you think it's moral to farm animals for us humans? Given that we don't need to do it, do you think it's moral to do so?
I'm gonna be honest, I think morality is really a point of view, because if you look at it, we justify capitalism in a way as of, yeah, it's human nature.
Yeah.
You could say at the same time it's human nature to farm animals because that's how we evolved. And at the same time you can fucking, what's it called? You can
But we can't
moralize
say it's-
anything like that.
But we can't really say it's human nature to farm animals, because very few humans actually do farm animals, right? Most humans just pay other humans to do it, but very few humans actually participate in the act of farming itself.
Yes, but historically, Homo sapiens, we did evolve in the agricultural revolution. We did evolve to use animals to
Do
our
you think
advantage.
we evolved, or do you think we developed this, right? I think farming wasn't necessarily an evolution, but rather a development. It was more like we realized that we want to consume animals and animal products, so therefore if we multiply them, if we handle them, and if we kill them however we want to, we won't need for wild animals to come to us anymore, right? So we developed it, we didn't necessarily evolve. Hence why I think agriculture was developed, I don't know, maybe 10,000 years ago. Evolution needs way more time for us to to actually develop certain areas, right?
That's very true, but even before we ate animals, we hunted. Like in forager societies, they did hunt.
But in a society like coming back to today we don't need animal products, right, to survive and thrive. Today we can survive and thrive on plants and plant-based products. How can we morally justify forcing innocent animals into slaughterhouses when we don't need to do so?
Well, indeed, it sounds very like unjustifiable, but I'm not sure if we absolutely do not need to do so. I'm young, I don't know
Yeah.
everything, but from my own experience, the times that I've tried to go full-on vegetarian, it hasn't been the best for me. But I do think as an adult, when your body changes stuff, definitely you could go full vegetarian, and it's definitely much better. But I think when you're still developing as a young adult, like teenager, kid, I think you kind of need.
There's nothing that
Meat.
you need. So the largest dietitian organizations in the world deem a plant-based diet as suitable for all ages and stages of life. That includes pregnancy, that includes children, that includes athletes, whatever it is, you can thrive on a plant-based diet, right? So let's say if you were to find out that the science says that you don't need it, that you can thrive on a plant-based diet, is there anything holding you back from adopting a plant-based diet? Or how would you otherwise morally justify exploiting animals?
There wouldn't be anything holding it back, except the environment, really. Right? If everybody around you eats meat, then there will be a certain pressure to do the same.
Yeah.
Except
But-
the environment, there would be nothing. Yeah, no, I think it would be great to switch.
But do you think, environmentally speaking, if everybody around you were to be eating dogs or cats, would you still do the same?
If for a long enough period, I believe so. I mean, if I went to
Just because
China
to some-
right now and lived there for 20 years, I think I'll end up going that way. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's only because in time that first opposition that you have with it goes, your cognitive dissonance makes it so dim, and you have to accept it, and you have to accept it, and you have to accept it, and in time it becomes so small. But it doesn't necessarily mean that you actually have accepted it, but rather just put it more and more the back of your head, right?
But isn't that the same thing that you could say for vegetarianism? Yeah, you could say you accepted it, but in fact you did not accept it. You just put it in the back of your head.
What do you mean?
Well, you just said, yeah, you couldn't eat like dogs and cats and everything, right? Or you could, like after 20 years, but you just adapt to it, right? You wouldn't really. Sorry, I touched my.
Yeah, no worries.
You wouldn't really accept it. It's just that it would just get smaller in your mind, the idea of being against cats and dogs, and so you'd start eating cats and dogs. The
Yeah.
same thing could be about vegetarianism. Yeah, okay, I don't like eating animals. I start eating vegetarian, but in fact, in the back of your mind, you could still be like, no, I want meat. I like meat. You just push that thing back so that you could.
Yeah,
eat
but
vegetarians.
either way, right? What I'm saying that you push back is the horrors that a cat or a dog would be go through for you, right? It's not that you're pushing back a want or a need. That's never the case. That's not what I'm saying, right?
Yeah.
Because even if you do like the taste of the flesh of a cat or a dog, that does not morally justify you killing them, right? They still should have some form of moral consideration on their own, right? We should still be able to say, hey, they're individuals just like your pets or your animal companions were, right? For somebody to just take their life because they like the taste of their flesh, it would be wrong for them, not for no other reason, right? It would
I
be wrong
agree.
because they wouldn't want that to happen to them, right? So
Yeah, I agree.
don't you think that in the same situations, cows, chickens, pigs feel the same way, that they don't want their life taken away for something that we don't actually need?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Yeah, so it seems to me like morally you kind of align with this idea that we should not be exploiting animals, and it just feels to me like your actions don't really align with your own morals, right? And part of it, if I may say, it's of course because we live in a non-vegan world, right, where we exploit animals as a normality. But do you think that the way to change this, the way to go the moral side would be to either ignore it and continue participating in it, or to not participate in it and more people to try and join that?
Oh, well, even if more people try and join it, I don't think there'll be a proper change. I think I'm not a violent guy, but I think the only way would be to actually like through a violent revolution or some shit that you could actually revolutionize something like that, because that's a big scale thing. I mean, hey, there's people out there making a lot of money over it. They're gonna they don't want that to change, you know.
No, but you could always, even if the world never changes, you could always say, I was on the right side of the world, right? You could always say, like, in the case, for example, when there were women who didn't have rights, when there were black people who were enslaved, if you were just going along with what society deems as right and wrong, you would have been always on the side of not giving women's rights or black people being enslaved. But on that very time, you could have also said, hey, no, these are individuals who shouldn't be enslaved. They deserve just as many rights as we do. Just because they have a different skin color doesn't mean that they should be enslaved. You could have said the same about women. Just because they have a different sex doesn't mean they should have less rights or opportunities. So it's the same as women, right? Just because they're, with animals, just because they're a different species, they still think, they still emote, they still are very much like us in all the ways that matter. So for us to kill them for something that we don't need, it's wrong. So don't you feel like you should be on the right side of history rather than on the wrong side of history? And I do think it will change, by the way.
I also agree, but I think it's gonna take a long, long time to change. But it's an interesting idea to be on the right side of history. But how do I say this? You can be on the right side of history, you know, you can do all that. But right now, if you let's say go vegetarian, there's also from people that aren't vegetarian, there's a certain view upon the peoples that go protesting for such things, because even a lot of people that eat meat, they think, yeah, okay, that makes sense. Okay, they shouldn't be, animals shouldn't be saved for that. But there's just, let's say 1% of the people protesting are vegetarians that ruin their reputation, you know, and then it's way harder for other people to actually join that movement because they don't want to be associated.
I understand that.
With that.
And by the way, vegetarians, they eat dairy, they eat eggs. All of these are still
When I say
animal
vegetarians,
products.
I
Yeah,
mean
I figured you
I know
probably mean
everything,
vegans. Yeah, I figured. I just wanted to be sure because I'm live and there are other people listening, so other people should also be on the same page. That is true. But what I'm advocating for is not necessarily you subscribing to a label per se, right? Like you can choose to not have that label at all. What I'm advocating is for you to not participate in this anymore. It's for you to choose to say, hey, please, I think it's wrong to exploit animals, therefore I will not be part of it. Even if everybody else does it, I choose to not be part of it because I think it's wrong. Otherwise, even if everybody else does it but you think it's wrong, how can you morally justify it to yourself continuing doing it if you think it's wrong?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Right? Because we are I think the only people we have to give an explanation to is ourselves most of the times. The only we feel good or bad about our choices. If anybody else makes us feel good or bad about our choices. They're merely just pointing out things that we already knew about our choices that aren't good or bad, right?
Yeah, no, I completely agree.
Yeah. So
But to that, I completely agree. But would you say, in any way, like, in no way, like, offense, but I think there's bigger problems in the world right now than that.
perhaps you can like I don't subscribe to this idea that there's bigger or smaller problems. I think they're all problems with equal importance. I would say even if you do believe there's bigger problems in this world, right? What I'm advocating for is not that you dedicate your life towards a change where you fight for animal rights like I do, right? What I'm advocating for is that you do the bare minimum and that you no longer pay for their exploitation, which would imply, because every time you do eat, every time you do buy clothes, you make a choice, a conscious choice, and nobody's forcing you in this choice. So why not choose the option that doesn't exploit an animal? Because that is always readily available, right?
Yeah.
You see what I mean? Like
I understand what you mean.
Yeah, okay. So I'll just ask you this one final question because I don't want to keep you too long. So how many more animals do you want to be exploited for you before you make a change?
How many?
Yeah.
Before I make a change, like
Yeah.
exactly an amount of animals. How
How
many,
many
I want
do you
to
want?
die
Yeah,
until.
the exploited and killed. Not die because they're not dying. They get killed.
Oh, it's the same thing.
It's not the same. It's not the same.
No, it's not dying and being killed.
Imagine if your grandma was killed. It's a different thing. If your grandma dies before grandma was killed, right?
Yeah, okay, I understand.
It's a different.
How many animals?
Do you want it to be 0 or more than 0? Let me ask you this.
Well, 100. Just because of situations, it will 100% be more than 0. Because imagine there's no other store open except a McDonald's or something that has meat, and then I'm on the street there and I need something to eat. Of course, I'm gonna eat the animal if it's that situation. But generally speaking, if it's not depending on situation, I'm gonna say 0.
Yes. Okay. Well, I appreciate you being honest with me, and I'll give you some resources. I mean, the only way to make it 0 is really to go vegan. And by the way, veganism is just about morals and principles. It's about saying
My
no to
parents are
animal
both
exploitation.
vegans and vegetarians.
Ah, okay, okay,
I'm
perfect.
just the only one that's not really.
You're the black sheep of the
Yeah,
family. I see
exactly.
that. Okay. Okay. So you have some references here. I strongly recommend that you watch Dominion if you have never seen what animals go through, or the most important speech you'll ever hear. You just gotta scan this QR code or go to this website and type in this code.
Okay.
That's it, and you get all the
Thank you.
resources that you need. And yeah, don't allow, like, just like your pets, the ones that you had emotions for, that they live, that you've noticed their personalities. All of these other animals are the same.
Yeah.
Just because we don't see them doesn't mean they're not, or that it doesn't happen to them. Okay.
I
Hey,
believe that.
cheers. Thank you. Have a good one. Bye. Hello, everyone. Hey, you guys want to try a social experiment?
What?
You'll see. I'll ask you some questions. You okay being live on my YouTube channel?
Oh, okay.
You don't care? Can you come a little bit closer then so that you're in view?
Sorry.
Hey, what's your name?
Eugenio. Eugenio. I'm from
Eugen-
Spain.
Oh, Itaniel.
Javi.
Javi. Okay.
From Spain.
Okay. So I'll turn this around and you tell me what you think. It says animal abuse should be legal.
Animal abuse should be legal. Okay, I say no.
Why not?
Why not? Animal abuse in what context? Animal abuse? Just eating or any kind of punishment?
Well, how would you
or
define abuse?
abuse? It's difficult, but I would say it's like any kind of harm that you do to the animal.
Yeah.
Can be physical abuse or even psychological. You can even do to an animal.
Okay.
Well, I think it's wrong. Animal is also a living being. So it shouldn't be treated in a bad way.
Yeah. So it's wrong to abuse animals. Do you agree?
Yeah.
You agree? For the same reasons that they're living and that they maybe have emotions.
Yes, but they are not the same as humans.
They're not the same as humans. Okay. Yeah, that's fine. Like you and I are not the same, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Fair enough. Okay, so it would be wrong to abuse cats or dogs. What about the cows, the chickens, the pigs that we eat? Do you think we're abusing them?
Well, depends on, because in China they also eat dogs.
Yeah.
So I think it's depends of the culture. So maybe for us it's better.
But do you think the action of abuse, the action that they do, whether it is abuse or not, is dependent on culture, or do you think the acceptance
eating-
of it is abuse or not?
About eating them?
Yeah.
No, I mean I don't. Since we need to eat meat, I think it's not bad. That, for example, for me it seems bad that someone eats a dog. But in China, for example, it's the culture that they eat dogs.
Yeah.
So that's like a tradition way. So for me, it could be okay for that. I wouldn't do it, but
Would you be surprised to find out like that we don't need to consume any animal products?
well, we need to consume animal products. Other thing is that we need to consume living animal products.
Well, I'm a certified. Well, I'm not yet. I'm almost there, studying to be a certified nutritionist, and I can tell you that amongst the first things that you read and you learn is that you don't need any animal products to survive or to thrive.
Well, no, you need animal products, but you don't need them from living animals. You need like the raw materials, but yet in the laboratory it's not available them to.
What exactly is it from animal products that you need that you disagree with science?
What?
Because, obviously, the
there-
scientific consensus is that we don't need animal products, but
Well,
you
there
seem
are
to
some-
think otherwise.
Well, there are some amino acids that are needed from animal.
So all 9 essential amino acids are present in all plants in various forms. And in soy, they're a complete protein, so they're available just like they are in all animal products. So then surely there is all the amino acids all the 9 essential amino acids that you need are in all plant-based products. So.
Even but it's not the same.
Why?
For vegano era lo que se podía comer, no podía comer carne, ¿no? For example, for vegans, they also need extra nutrients.
I'm vegan, I don't need any extra nutrition. What do you mean?
need to eat more extra nutrients.
What do you mean by that? I don't know.
Like you need to eat more of a special type in order to.
No, I just eat normally. I don't. I eat a lot more because I'm a power lifter and bodybuilder, so I need to eat more. But that's just eating more in general. It's not necessarily that more of a certain type or for a certain nutrition. It's just I just need more calories.
But you don't think that it is also not important, but to respect that other people want to eat animal?
Well, this is where we're getting at, right? Like, do you think we should respect when other people want to kill other people?
Well, a human being is not the same.
Well, no, I'm just asking, like, because the way I see it, if you think that animal abuse is wrong, then why should we respect people who want to abuse animals so that they get a certain product that they like? Like,
Que si vas a matar a un animal, pero si piensas que el abuso está mal, ¿por qué matarías animales o abusarías de ellos?
Because it's like saying lions, for example, it's not the same because lions are not omnivores, but they also need to eat meat. So would you say that it's wrong for them to eat? Or for example, you say that it's wrong for dogs to eat also meat?
what do you think? Because you said,
Yeah, like you should. I think it's true that the consumption of meat is not mandatory for
Yeah.
humans. That's true.
Yeah.
I knew that from before. The key thing is also that it has, of course, a cultural component of eating meat all along the history of the humanity.
yeah.
And I think also the problem is that maybe before there wasn't that abuse because I think there were less people to feed. So I think the problem with abuse is like the overconsumption of meat. I think it's what generates the really abuse of those animals, like in the big farms with no space and dark. I think that's the problem. How do we do to get the consumption of meat? How do we do to get them? You know?
But like,
Because imagine I have a farm and I have my own breed, like pigs or cows, and like I have them for their products, but I don't really do the abuse or the harm to overconsume them.
but do you think killing them is not abusive?
killing them for meat? I think it's
mean,
abusive
for
the
something
way
that we don't need,
I think-
essentially,
I
right?
think the way you do it.
But regardless, like,
Yeah,
we
of
don't
course,
need any animal
of course,
products, right?
I don't need it, of course. It's
Yeah.
true, but I like them.
So,
That's-
but how
that's
can we
how I-
morally justify taking the life of an innocent
Well, I
sentient
mean,
being
when you-
for something we don't need, right? Like, whether that's a dog, whether that's a cat, whether that's a human, or whether
I mean,
that's an animal, to me, it's all unjustifiable, right?
For example,
Well, of course, if we take the part of the living things, like it also has to do with. We can even talk about the living thing of plants, but I think
But
it's
plants
the
are
way.
not sentient and they're not capable of suffering, right?
Okay,
Whereas
but for
animals are
example,
capable of
when you have
suffering.
a farm like, of wheat, for example, you have to kill, for example, I don't know, some type of worms or some type of insects in order that they don't eat your wheat.
But wouldn't you argue that that's more of an argument of out of need, right? Like we need to eat, right? We need to eat something, and of course there is some harm in all sorts of food production. But shouldn't we then?
Why could you kill those insects? But
No, you shouldn't. Like if you have the option not to, you shouldn't. But that's the key, right? That's the difference, the option. Because when you buy an animal product, you always, if you have the option not to, then you're actively choosing for an animal to be exploited and slaughtered for you when you could always choose not to, right? So then that's what I'm asking. How can we morally justify that? Having options
Well,
and
science-
choosing the option that creates more harm or, yeah.
Well, science, la ética solamente con los hombres o no, para las personas?
Ethics?
Yes.
¿Qué pasa?
So I think, if I remember well, ethics are after human beings only. So, for example, science, animals doesn't have those reasonable arguments. Doesn't have
They
like
don't have morality, that's what
yes,
you mean. Yeah.
no morality. No, that they are not able to reason.
Yeah.
They just live. Like they just live, and if they know that in some place they can find food, they will go to that place. But they don't reason why that's food.
So,
yeah.
what you're saying is that animals are less cognitively,
Yes, able.
I don't know, gifted than us, right?
Yes.
Do you think that that's a good enough moral justification to take somebody's life?
Well, I don't mean. I mean that science. They are not as capable of reasoning as us. They shouldn't have. They shouldn't receive the same laws and moral judgment as.
Oh, I'm not saying the same. What I'm saying is the bare minimum of us not infringing, like the bare minimum of body autonomy, where they get to decide for their own life and their own body. That's it.
I mean, but if I want to eat meat, why is animal abuse to kill it in a not that to kill in a good way, you know, like without harming the, without damaging the.
I'm just questioning like what your values are. Do you yourself think it's fair to take the life of an innocent being when you don't need to? Like for me, just to all of the sudden, like just to put a hypothetical out there, if I take a dog and I beat the dog to death, and I just do it because I get exercise from beating the dog to death. I hang them by the leg and I use them as a punching bag, and I beat them all the way until they die. Do you think that's fair towards the dog for me to do that?
No, but we are not talking about kicking a cow
No, but
to the death. We are talking about.
you are talking about putting a knife to their throat and you're thinking that's okay, but somehow kicking them is not.
Yeah.
Do you not
No,
see
I mean,
the...
for me, it wouldn't be okay to kill a cow by cutting their parts little by little, but just to eat, but by cutting its throat and not making any damage to it. Yeah, because it's.
Okay, then I can adjust the hypothetical to suit your needs. So I take a dog, I put a knife to their throat, and then I punch them.
Yes.
Is that okay? Is that okay according to your values?
One is dead.
Well, they're dead. I just punch them now. I first kill them and I punch them
Why
to get
would-
exercise.
Why would you punch animal, that animal?
Because I get exercise from it.
Okay, so you are killing it, not to consume it, just to punch it.
Yeah.
Why don't you buy a box?
Oh, so we have alternatives.
If you want to, yes.
Yeah. So why is it that in the case of food, why would killing an
Because
animal?
it's not
But you still have an alternative.
because it's not the same. Punching it.
You got it.
I got why you were going to argue
Yeah.
with that, but it's not the same to kill an animal to punch.
Why does it matter what I do with their body, right? I mean, the act of killing is still to
For
the
the same
animal.
reason-
Do you think to the animal it matters what
for
we
the
do to
same-
the body?
For the same reason of overproduction. So if you start killing animals for every type of thing, killing animals for punching, then killing animals to build started with them. So you're gonna produce more animals, so you're gonna kill more.
So what you're saying, the reason why it's wrong to kill a dog and me punching them to death is because we kill other animals, not because it's wrong to do that to the dog.
No, because it's wrong. The cost of killing it is wrong.
The cost of killing them is wrong. What do you mean? Like I can do it for free. What do you mean? The cost.
No, the cost, not of money cost. Is in Spanish would be the cost
Okay.
like of human cost, animal cost. The life is a cost.
Yeah. So what you're saying is that the value of his life is not worth the benefit that I get.
Yes.
Yeah. So how is it that the value, so just to put it out there, right? Me punching a dog would imply me getting healthier, would imply maybe me living an extra day. You killing an animal for food and eating them would imply you maybe living a little bit less, you getting your pleasure because you do it because you like it, right? So you get some taste pleasure out of it for 30 minutes and then you forget about it in a couple of days. So how is that morally? How is that justified to take the life of somebody, a whole existence for somebody, for something that you forget in a couple of days?
Because I am not in the need, but to eat food.
But you don't need to eat animals. If I say I need to eat food, it wouldn't just be justified for me to kill your friend, cut their throat and eat them, right?
Yeah,
because I would have
it's not the same a
alternative.
human than an animal.
Is that the reason, or is it because I have alternatives? Because if we were in a stranded island, just the three of us, and we both decide to kill him, we would say it's justified, right? Because we need it.
No,
But
we
in
can
the
say-
absence of
well,
need,
in that case, yes, because they survive. In
Exactly.
that case, because the survival needs are more than moral needs.
because there is a
it's
need.
Like the Uruguayan players that went into Los Andes and they went down and they started eating their
exactly.
flesh. It's the
But,
same.
but in the absence of need, when there is no need, the reason why it's bad to kill a human being and eat them, it's not because they're human,
Yes,
but because
animals are not human. So you know.
well, humans are animals, first of all.
Yes,
but
but like livestock animals are not humans. We cannot compare a livestock animal with a
okay,
human.
then tell me what is the difference between them that justifies killing one for optional products but not the other?
For killing them, because animals are not made to be punchable, to use it as a box.
No. You said for food, right?
Yes.
So I'm asking you, what is the morally significant difference between an animal and a human being that justifies killing one but not the other?
That they cannot reason.
So if we find a human being who cannot reason,
If you find a human being that cannot reason,
it's
then-
okay to kill them for food.
No, because it's still a human being.
Okay, so then that is not the difference then.
I mean, there are lots of different. For example, the number of chromosomes. But the most different thing about a human being,
There's animals who have more chromosomes than humans.
I know, but only the human has 46.
So,
But what I'm saying is,
so if we find a human being who
okay,
doesn't have
what I'm
46
saying-
chromosomes, we
what
can
I'm
kill them?
saying Is that the human being is known for being able to reason by themselves and to be able to know.
Not all humans.
I mean, the human being, as a race, Homo sapiens sapiens, is known for being able to reason and
No, that's just the quality you prescribe. I would say the human race, Homo sapiens sapiens, is well known for its exploitation, oppression, and everything that the humans do to suit their own.
Is well known for exploitation and.
Lions don't exploit. No, exploitation would inherently involve some form of, exploitation. Lions don't exploit. Lions only kill animals when they need to. There is a need. Whereas we kill animals when we want to, because we like the taste of their flesh, because we want to impregnate them, because we want to wear their skin. Whatever the reason is, we justify it by saying we want to, not we need to. There is a
Okay, but
difference.
what I'm saying is, Homo sapiens sapiens is a different race from every other race or species, because it's able to reason by themselves and to behave themselves different from their environment.
But do you think that the belonging to a particular group that you have prescribed qualities to is a good enough reason to kill somebody? Because I could say, white people are on top of the world, right?
What's the difference between white people and black people? For example?
Exactly. So what's the difference between animals and humans? I could say the same. White people are mostly in power. Therefore, white people is a group of people.
But there is no big difference between white people and black people.
What's the difference? What is the difference between animals and humans? We come back to the same.
Animals-
You keep saying that, humans participate, the human group, so the group of human being that they're part of is a group that is especially special in some way, right? Well, and
Yeah.
I tell you, I can ascribe that to any group that I follow,
No,
right?
because you cannot say that, for example, white group is special because they have more power. Okay, but that's not an special way to differentiate it. You know?
Why? It's the same as you saying that they have
No,
more
because-
intelligence. In fact, I would argue that maybe power comes with some form of work, therefore there is some form of merit behind it, whereas intelligence is just something that you're born with, or capability for cognition is something that you're born
Okay,
with. So you're basically discriminating based on some qualities that somebody is born with, and I would be discriminated based on qualities that somebody has aspired to. So I would say discriminating based on qualities that somebody is born with is actually worse.
I mean, the difference between white people and black people doesn't.
But I don't care about that. I want to hear about what's the difference between animals and humans.
Science, the fact that there is some human being that is not able to reason doesn't make him not a human being. babies are not. Are
Yeah,
able
but don't you think, like, I understand, but what you're saying, basically, what you're saying in a nutshell, you're saying that the reason why it's okay to kill animals but not humans is because animals are animals and humans are humans. That's what you're saying. Humans are part of the group that I said are humans. Animals are part of a group that I don't deem as worthy, therefore they're not worthy, right? Because that's the only difference that
obviously
you
they're
mentioned.
worthy. But
Well, you still can't seem to find the difference.
yes, because it's not good to. It would not be good to bring here a cow and start punching it. But if you grow a cow in order to be as a farm, livestock, and then you kill it for food, so you can.
If I do the exact same thing to a human being, I grow them for the purpose of being stock, right? Food.
Human beings are not.
What's the difference?
That they can reason. That,
What if this human being that I grew cannot reason?
that one human that a minority. That, for example, my friend Eugenio cannot reason doesn't make stop him being a human being.
Yeah, so then that is not the difference.
Yes,
What you're
it's a
saying,
difference.
but do you again? We come back in circles because you
Yes.
don't seem to understand.
But
You-
I don't think you don't seem to understand.
No, I-
And all, the 99, the human being, the species, is able to reason. That the one
the
human.
species is not able to reason. Species is just a group of people. Just like white people is a group, just like black people is a group, just like Spanish people is a group, just like Romanian people is a group. They're all just groups of people. You assigning certain qualities to that group doesn't mean that each
what
individual in that group has those
Okay,
qualities,
but
right?
what's the
So
main difference of a cow or of any other type of animal and a human?
there is no difference. We're all sentient.
And why doesn't have cows a castle?
Say it again.
Why doesn't cows build castles?
Why don't you have a castle? Why don't you build castles?
I don't build, but they are human beings are able to build them, but you won't.
No, you are not. Are you able to build this castle?
Not me, but maybe are you? It's
So
a-
we should be slaughtering you because you're not able to kill castles, just
it's
like
a-
we do
it's-
to animals.
No, but I am able to reason by myself. I am able to know why food comes from the camp, but cows aren't able. Cows knows that in the one place there is food, and they are going to go there.
No, cows reason. What do you mean? Cows reason. They play. They're interested in
You can't-
music. They have they have
So
personalities.
every-
They form social bonds. They're exactly like humans in all the ways that matter. What you're saying is that human race is more intelligent. Therefore, we cannot kill one of our own, even if they're stupider. But somehow we can kill all animals and do whatever we want to animals because
I
we
don't
deem
think
them
you
all
can do whatever
stupid.
you want to animals.
Well, I would say forceful impregnation, stealing their babies, killing their babies, killing them when we no longer need them is kind of like one of the worst things you can do to anybody.
Yeah, but I mean,
Hanging
That I
their
can-
dead corpse in a supermarket, which you guys do in Spain, to pigs. You hand the dead corpses in supermarket. Would that be fair enough or nice enough to do? Would that be respectful to do to any being on this planet to just hang their corpse to show? Look at this. We can choose always something else to eat, but we desire this. Here is the corpse.
Yeah.
and why don't you eat, for example, why don't you only eat ¿qué? Polvo, ¿cómo se dice eso en polvo? Laboratory products.
What do you mean?
I mean, you can buy only laboratory made products, no?
I don't think I can, no.
Yes, pills and all that stuff.
But that is not even. So first of all,
Todavía no.
like
La proteína en polvo viene de ahí.
like I would argue that is first of all not practicable, right? What I'm mentioning is not, it's something that is quite practical, and whether you like to acknowledge it or not, it's your own choice, right? But you always have options where you're either choosing to exploit or kill an innocent sentient being. You always have that option, right? So how would you morally justify choosing to exploit or kill an innocent sentient being? Is it just because you like it?
Because I like meat and I
Yeah, but then what's the difference between you and anybody killing animals for fun? It's exactly the same thing. To the animal, it's exactly the same thing. You're both just choosing your pleasure on top of their life and not even your pleasure, but your 10 minutes of pleasure for top of your life. And it's not even your 10 minutes of pleasure, but rather your 10 minutes of stubborn pleasure, because you may get pleasure, like taste pleasure, also from other products, like plant-based products. So you're just really choosing your own convenience, your own usefulness on top of an animal's whole life for 10 minutes for you. Well, how can you morally justify that?
But morals don't apply to animals, they apply to humans.
So, yeah, but there you go. But
Since
you're
we are-
making the
since
choices.
we are humans,
But you're making the choices, so morals apply to you.
yes, and we are humans, we have to apply morals. We have to have morals so they could apply to respect in some way.
How is it respectful to take somebody's life when you have the option not to, again?
Because
Like, I think the problem also has to do with that animals have cognitive, so well, they have cognitive, they can think, yeah, they have abilities, and we can see also their suffering, and also I think that's part of the key things when we have feelings, not anything else. But I also think that
Animals also have feelings and they suffer.
yeah,
and they-
no, I agree with you. They have, for sure, they have feelings. If you have a dog or a cat, they
Yeah,
have
yeah,
feelings
you
for
have
you.
seen them, yeah.
And cow, all of them can have. I think that's the key why now we are treating this problem with like people that are big animals, because we see the suffering and we know that they suffer. But I also think that if you are talking about killing, we can talk about killing plants. When I put out a potato from the earth and I eat it, I'm killing the potato. The problem is that I don't see their suffering.
But plants don't suffer.
Yes, for
They don't have any. They don't have any
but you are-
biological. They
but-
don't have any
yeah, of course.
biological traits of suffering
But you
or
are
anything.
killing alive
life.
because it's life. If we
It doesn't really matter. Like, of course, you can. I mean, I understand your
for me,
perspective, but
that's
you. What you're
that's
saying
the
is
really
that,
key thing.
yeah. So what you're saying is that there's two options, right? You're either killing an animal or you're killing a plant, and at the end of the day, you're killing a life. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, but would you then, let me ask you this, don't you think that even in situations, I'm not going to argue whether they're sentient or not, because plants are not sentient. They don't feel pain, they don't have
No,
emotions.
they don't, of course.
They don't, right?
Yeah.
So then I would argue that plants are more accustomed to any device that is alive. It's just a life that doesn't, the fact that they don't feel and have emotions is the big deal, right? Like if humans wouldn't feel or have emotions, I also wouldn't necessarily have an issue. Or let me put it, a subjective experience. Do you know what subjective experience is?
I don't get you. With
Yeah,
that.
so a subjective experience literally just means that they're the subjects of their own universe, just like you are the subject of your own universe,
Okay, I
right? Like
get
you
you.
experience the world around you.
Okay, I got you.
Like we all have that, right?
Yeah.
Animals also have that, plants don't. So there's that, number one.
Mm-hmm.
And number two, in both situations, when you're killing a plant, you're killing a plant, let's say, and you eat them. But
Mm-hmm.
when you're killing an animal, you're killing all the plants that that animal also ate. So even if you say that
mean,
plants think
if-
are sentient, you're still killing way more plants plus one innocent sentient animal for you to eat, right? So you're anyway the more
So if
preferable
you-
choice.
Yeah, anyway,
If you-
at
if-
the end,
no,
anyway,
but
you are
it's like
you are
either
killing.
way, no? If you eat,
That's the-
for example, banana, you are killing also all the insects and all that were needed to be killed.
And the same logic could be applied to absolutely all the food that
Yeah.
animals eat.
Yes, but I mean, if
Yeah.
you're using that logic against food animal, so I am using the same logic as food against.
Yeah, so would you
So-
say, is it better to kill 1 million animals or 2 million animals?
Okay, so I'm asking you: is it better to kill 1 million beetles just to eat a banana, but it's not good to kill 1 million wheat to eat a cow?
Wait, no, the options are killing 1 million beetles to eat a banana or killing 2 million beetles and a cow to eat a cow. Yeah, I would say it's better to kill 1 million beetles and a banana than to kill 2 million beetles and a cow.
Okay.
Yeah, but I want to eat the cow.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
it all boils down to this, you wanting it too, right?
Yes.
But do you think that, because don't you think we built a society on top of things, and we as, you claim to be human and morally superior to animals. The thing that I believe makes us superior to animals is our capability to reason and to cognition, and yet you're clinging so tight to this one thing that you feel pleasure for, and you're not able to morally justify it in any sense or make any sort of logic behind it. You just keep saying that you like it. So how, like, do you see the irony here in this whole statement? Because you say you're superior to animals, but you're behaving exactly like an animal when you're consuming meat.
No,
Because you
I know-
neglect,
I know
you
exactly-
neglect the harm that you
I know
cause.
it- I
You
know.
neglect the animal abuse that you say you're against.
I'm not
that you're
acting as an
supporting.
animal. I mean, if I would act as an animal and I want to eat food, I will probably go to the first dog I find and I will beat him. But that's the difference between an animal and me. If I was a lion, if I were to be a lion and I want food, I would probably eat my friend Eugenio. But since I'm a human being, I don't look after and fight against a living animal. So I wait. So some professional kill it in a.
So you couldn't kill it yourself. You couldn't kill the animals yourself.
Yes, because I'm not an animal, a human being. I can reason. And I can reason. I know that if I run as a lion.
It sounds to me like you can't really reason when it comes to the moral justifications for killing an animal, because all you come down to is your pleasure. And then if I ask you, is your pleasure more important than an animal? Your 10 minutes of pleasure is more important than a whole animal's exploitation, abuse, and slaughter?
I mean, it's not exploitation, abuse, as law.
It is. Just because you don't see it doesn't mean it isn't, but it is.
Yes, I mean, but it's not the same. Treating them well and growing them to be killed at certain age.
Were you treated well so far your entire life?
Me?
Yeah.
If I were treated well? No.
You weren't treated well so far your entire life?
No.
No? Like if somebody comes now and says, have you lived a good life?
No.
No? You've lived a bad life?
My first 14 years, yeah, they were pretty bad.
Okay, well, I'm sorry to hear that, by the way. I'm sorry. I don't
Nah,
mean
don't
to
worry,
like...
you never did that.
But let's just put it this way. Like, if somebody has a good life,
Yes.
it doesn't morally justify you
No.
coming there and taking their life just because
Obviously.
you feel pleasure for
Obviously.
it. Say it again.
Obviously, it's not.
Yeah.
It's not. But as
I understand you say there's a difference between humans and animals, but you can't really point to that difference. So,
I pointed it.
no, you just say that they're part of a group. That's it.
No, I'm saying that the human species is different.
We're not going to get down
I
again
know, but-
because you keep saying they're different, but you can't mention the difference. You say intelligence, but then I say, well, then I equate it for intelligence and say, well, if a human being is less intelligent, does that justify it? You say no, because they're human. So then, okay, what is it? It's still, well, like, they're
mean,
part of the group of
imagine-
humans that are intelligent.
Okay, imagine I say all humans have 2 arms, 2 legs, 2 eyes, 2 ears, and then can. So a friend of mine that was in a war and a grenade exploded and he lost 1 leg. He's still a human, but he has one leg more. So we are a big group, but there are some minorities, like very few percentages that because.
But that doesn't, I understand what you mean, but you're just describing the group. You're not, why don't you describe the group of animals this way? There's animals who are more intelligent than certain humans.
Yes.
If we go to the
dolphins
scale
are
of
more-
intelligence,
no, but dolphins are more intelligent, but than fishes, for example, than dogs, for example. But maybe dolphins they are more intelligent than humans, but they cannot reason and we can. We can reason about the environment. We can understand the environment. We can.
all humans can do that. We keep saying we as in the whole group can, not the whole group. So then if we find individuals from a group, we can remove them and say these are animals who can reason, and we can free some humans, maybe some animals, and these are animals who cannot reason, and there will be some humans and a lot of animals. Does that morally justify for me to kill this group of
No,
individuals?
but because they are very, very, very
Because
small
you
minority.
created, doesn't matter, but they're not in the minority in my group, because again, I separated them by the group of those who can reason and those who cannot. I separated them by the reason that you find is morally justifiable. Those who cannot reason, maybe they're human, maybe they're animals, who
No,
cares
they are
what
still
they are?
humans. But because
I don't know
mutation.
what they
Because-
I would call humans even animals, doesn't really matter. You see, this is
Yes,
that's what I mean.
humans are animals, but not.
Do you not understand the difference
Yes, but for
between a
example-
group and the quality of a group?
Okay, so what's the difference between a cow and wheat?
A cow and wheat?
And a wheat. Regular
Oh,
wheat.
like a
Yes, a plant of wheat.
sentience, consciousness,
So
capability
if
for
there is
emotions,
one cow, but because
brains.
yes, but if there is one cow that because of mutation, a disease, stop feeling, for you would be okay to kill it.
If it doesn't have a subjective experience, yes.
But why?
Because the subjective experience is what gives us, it's what our life matters.
So if
you
there is-
you enjoy your life because of your subjective experience. You don't like your life because of your subjective experience. Everything you have in this world is your subjective experience of the world.
But that's a cow know that it
Who cares if you do? Did you know that you didn't? Who cares?
but does
Not
a cow
everybody
knows
knows.
that it exists.
Yeah, cows know they exist. Yeah.
No.
I mean, they're conscious. What do you mean? They're individuals who know what they want to do. They play. If you throw them a ball, they'll bring it back. They're just like dogs and cats. They're the same.
Yes, but that some animal can do that. It's like when you have a bell, and every time you feed a dog, you ring the bell. And then one time you ring the bell without feeding the dog. He's gonna think that you're gonna give him food.
You can do that with humans.
You can do that with humans also.
Yeah,
what
but-
do you mean? Yeah, exactly.
I mean, yes, but in that way, you cannot say that the dog is reason.
Yeah, but you also cannot say, because what you're saying that dogs can reason, humans can reason is such an arbitrary line, because you know what? I can say humans who don't know, who don't understand quantum mechanics are not deserving of moral consideration. It's as simple as that. And therefore I can kill anybody who doesn't understand the
Yes, but
quantum mechanics. Why is that a better reason than, as you said, for reasoning? Why is my reasoning worse than yours?
because that's not a genetic description of an animal. of a species.
It doesn't matter. You see, you just you assigned you chose an arbitrary thing, and you said,
It's not an arbitrary.
well, it's very arbitrary because again, how can do you understand quantum mechanics?
No, but I can understand.
Therefore, I should be able to kill you because I do.
No, I mean, I don't that I don't understand quantum mechanics. Doesn't stop making me the
But do you
human.
well, no, but for my own morals, it's not my values. Do you think that it's okay to have
I think your
values where
but
you
human values are for all human beings.
No, human values are no such thing. Morality is subjective. I'm asking you about your values. And what you say based on your values, you draw an arbitrary line by saying that, well, if these can reason, they cannot reason. Then you say, okay, well, I drew this line of beings
Yes,
who
but
can
for me,
reason.
maybe I can draw the
Humans
line.
who cannot reason
before the-
are still somehow in this other line because it just suits your narrative. But the reality
But
is,
humans are still humans.
yeah, again, you just get the, so you say all the people, all the individuals who are part of your group are deserving of moral consideration. Everybody outside of your group is not deserving of moral consideration.
They deserve a moral consideration, but a different one.
A different one. So not enough that they have body autonomy, not enough that they can decide for their own body or whether they die or not for something so trivial as 10 minutes of taste pleasure.
Wait, yes.
Yeah. So do you see that this line of reasoning is the same line of reasoning that Nazi people used, racists use? These are a part. These
Because as
they are because they say exactly as you. These are part of my group. I can justify by finding some qualities of my group
yes,
that
but
group
is that
quality
enough? Not enough, but I mean, the reason why we can do that with animals is because
No, the reason why you do that to animals.
the reason that as a humans our morals can include that to doing those things to animals is because as we are able to reason, we are. I know you don't say, well, that then some humans that are not able to reason, then they are animals. But
Yeah.
it's not the case. It's not the case in the meaning that there's a big group of people
Yeah,
that
it's
can
part of the
reason.
group. They're part of your
Yes.
group. That's what you're saying.
Yes.
Exactly the same logic that Nazis and racists use. They're part of my group, therefore they deserve moral consideration.
The other one are also humans.
Yeah, they're part of your group of species. Species is just a group. That's nothing
Yes,
more.
But white people is not another different species than black people.
No, it's a different group though.
Mine is a group of it's a genetic
It's
group
still,
and a
you know,
reason group.
by the way, what you're engaging in is called speciesism. It's just a form of discrimination. Racism is just a different form of discrimination. They're both forms of discrimination based on qualities that an individual was born with. Whether an individual is born white or black, they don't choose the race that they're born with. Whether an individual is born a dog or a cow or a human, they don't choose the species that they're born in. Yet they all have personalities, all have a will to live, and all don't want to be exploited or killed. So the way I see it, we're all the same in all the ways that matter. Sure, we have our differences, but you and I have our differences. It wouldn't be morally justifiable for me to cut a leg off of you, to kill you, to do whatever I want to you, just because we have some differences, or just because you're not part of the same group that I am in.
Okay.
No.
What I mean is you cannot compare someone that has a farm and buys some cows in order to reproduce them and kill them to a Nazi.
I would say, did you know that Nazi people inspired the way they kill Jewish people from animal agriculture?
And
Did you know that pigs are gassed to death?
what?
Gas, que lo vas a
They use gas
You're
chambers.
comparing human to pigs.
I can compare humans to pigs, pigs to whatever. It doesn't matter. Comparisons you can make between anything. What I'm saying is that they're comparisons because we're all sentient. We all have emotions. We all deserve to live. And the reason why we deserve to live is not because of our intelligence, but because of our sentience, because we have the capability to feel. Even when you consider a human being who does not have intelligence, as you said, if you think about it, the reason why they deserve to live is not because they're human. It's because they feel. It's because they have a subjective experience of the world, just like animals do.
No, because they are humans.
So for you, that's the only reason. And if we find that genetically they're different to humans, they look like a human being, but genetically they're so different to humans. They're closer to, what do you call it? Neanderthals, let's say, right? They're so different to humans that they're Neanderthals.
Yes,
they
but-
still look like humans. Could we kill them?
No, because if they,
There you go.
I mean, if
You
they
have
are
no
able
consistency.
to reason, if they are able to reason an axe.
They are not able to reason.
And then what are they?
They look like humans, but they are Neanderthals.
And there's a new species.
Yeah.
We should investigate them.
So can we exploit and kill them?
No, because they're under investigation.
Because they're under it. You just keep moving the goalposts, man. It's okay. I don't. That's okay. I don't want to continue doing this because we keep going in circles.
Para que es para pegarte un guantazo, churro.
Okay.
No tienes razón.
Okay.
But I'll give you a card just to look more
No,
into
it's
it.
okay. Like, I agree with you. I see your point.
Yeah.
I obviously see
think there
your
is.
point.
No,
You
I
see
think,
my point, but
I
don't-
think there is no, there is no moral justification. The only
There-
justification you can find is whether you choose to do it or you don't choose to do
Exactly.
it. And I think that you should charge with that on you about what you are doing. In my case, like I choose to do it, but it's true. Like I try to find places where they treat the animals well before.
They still
know,
always take their life. They
They
still
say
always do the
that
same.
but
practices that
about
are
the thing
bad.
of life, I really think that if we are talking about killing things, we think about that for the animals, but because they feel they have their subjective experience. But I don't see the difference between killing an animal and killing I don't know, a plant for eating it, because killing is killing.
Our
at the end.
animals are much more like humans than they are to plants. What do you mean?
But we are talking about killing at the end.
Yeah, but even if you consider that again,
Like, if you have-
but
if
you
you
still
had
have
an
all the
animal-
arguments that
Yeah,
a plant
but-
does not feel like. You can't tell me that if I rip this right here is the same as cutting the throat of a dog. Come on, you have to be disingenuous to say that. Walking on grass is not the same as kicking a dog, is it? It's
No, of course, but imagine you had an animal and it has like no feelings, no suffering, no something. Will you say that also?
if they don't have a subjective experience. To me, that's all that matters. Subjective experience. I don't care about anything else.
Yeah, but okay, just only subjective experience.
Yeah.
Ah, okay.
Yeah,
That's-
because that's what
that's-
matters. That's what makes them a somebody. That's what means
Yeah.
that behind their head, behind their eyes, there's a somebody who experiences the world. Just like there is behind your eyes, just like there is behind your eyes. Like I don't know how you experience the world. I don't know how you experience the world. Sure, I can imagine certain things. I can deduce certain things.
Yeah.
But the reality is I don't know the experience that you have. Just like I don't know the experience that an animal has. So how can I choose to say that their experience is inferior to mine or to yours
No,
and
it's
choose
not.
to cut their throat, right?
No, it's not.
Yeah, but the plant does not have any of that. That's the difference.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
That's the reasoning. It's because there's what we call somebody, what the religions call a soul, what people it's that thing that gives us personality is that somebody is between those eyes. There's somebody there, and that's subjective experience. And all
Yeah.
animals have that. All humans have that, and that's why it's wrong to harm a human. That's why it's wrong to harm an animal.
Don't know. Yeah.
Also, bugs have it. A lot of bugs. Not all, because again, we created
Yeah, bugs.
categories, but like yeah.
Of course. Okay. I don't know. You should do like choose what you want to do, and that's all. I don't know.
I don't
Like-
think you
like-
should have the choice to kill humans, just like I don't think you should have the choice to kill animals. They're all a somebody. They all deserve to live equally.
Yeah. Okay. So I see your point. I see.
Okay.
Like I only choose to do it. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, but keep in mind, Nazi people only chose to do it. Well, everybody just chose to do it. Choice does not mean right. Might does not make
No,
right.
no,
right?
choice doesn't mean right. I know,
Yeah.
but I do like at the end in my suggested experience, I do what I want.
Yeah, you
That's
do
the
what
key.
you want. Just
I
like
do what I do
just-
what I feel it is right under some
Yeah, but maybe
societal laws.
yeah, but what was right is of course a product of what you have already been taught as a young child and as you grew up. But as an adult, you have a responsibility to value if what you think is right is actually what you've been taught to be right, right? That I think you shouldn't just stick around to somebody telling you that killing dogs is wrong but killing cows is right. I think you should argue why is killing dogs wrong but killing cows right. So if you think, based on your own values, if you think animals are okay to kill for food, then you should think dogs are okay to kill for food. You should think cats are okay to kill for food. So if all of a sudden somebody says, please sign this declaration so that we make dog meat available in supermarkets, you should say, yes, please, I want that, because there's no difference for you.
I know, but for me, there's difference between dogs and animals, but it's not not like a realistic difference. It's
You just have to think about it. I'm not saying just think about it. Just think about it. Just question your beliefs. Question your beliefs, because if we don't question beliefs, we end up in the same place where we were thousands of years ago. The only way we can evolve is by questioning our beliefs, by questioning the morals that we've been taught, and by questioning what we actually follow. And because I became vegan by thinking that I cannot justify killing an innocent animal for something that I don't need. How could I look myself in the mirror and say my life is more valuable than an animal's life? It's not. My life is just as valuable as their life, just as valuable as your life. For me to take their life away for something that I don't need, I think it's a bit selfish on my end. So that's how I choose, and I couldn't possibly justify it. I couldn't possibly go on. And the reason why I do the social experiment and I have conversations with people is to try to challenge your own beliefs also. Think about it, because you don't have to think about it with me right now. I'm a stranger to you, but go home and think about it. Don't just let it sleep, you know? It's not something, it's something that we will end, by the way, in society at some point. And you'll have to see which part of it do you want to be. Do you want to be on the part where there was violence towards animals, or part where there's not violence towards animals? Okay?
That's true. I really
I enjoyed our conversations.
like that will be the future.
Yeah. Okay, guys. Well,
With the
laboratory.
and have you talked? Do you know anything? Because you say you are a dietist.
yeah. Well, no, I'm not a dietist. I'm
No.
I'm a certified nutritionist. There's a difference.
Ah,
dietitians,
okay.
dietitians. Well, I'm not yet. I'm studying to be. But dietitians
that's it?
do medicine also. Yeah.
Ah, okay. I thought that if it was one, it was in the university, and one it was like what was the grad superior.
Like on other
No.
different study.
Yeah, yeah.
It's
So
it's only in the
yeah,
university.
exactly. That's the
Do you
difference.
have,
Yeah.
and what do you think about like?
So you're
the-
not in university. You're doing like a different study.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay,
It's like a different study. Yeah.
And what do you think about like
It's a certificate.
Yeah. We can explain what I'm saying.
artificial meat created in
I
laboratory?
have no problem. I don't.
You have no problem.
Yeah.
I agree with
think
you.
that's the future.
Yeah,
For
my,
me-
my goal is that as long as animals are not used or exploited or killed for it, I don't care.
I
Whatever.
think that's also like
The
the
future,
future.
yeah.
That investigation is really.
And I get, and it's nice
Sure,
that you're
yeah.
open to it, but until that happens, you know, you will just be paying for something that is against that. Because if you were to be buying vegan products, then artificial meat would come faster because you were supporting the other side of history. If you're continuing to support industries that exploit and slaughter animals, and by the way, I understand even if you think that you're against factory farming, like 90 to 95% of products are from factory farming.
Yeah.
So chances are you're already supporting that. So I'm just saying, like, look at your values and see what your values are and make decisions based on that. Because I can't force you to have certain values. It's your own values that you have. Okay. Okay.
See you.
Well, I'll do that. Yes.
Another time.
Sure.
Hey, have a good
Have a
one.
nice day.
Yeah. Cheers. Yes, everyone. That was a long conversation, huh? Hey, Dracolome. Nice to see you. I hope the reasonable man adapts himself to the world. The unreasonable one persists in trying to adapt the world to himself. Therefore, all progress depends on unreasonable man. George Bernard Shaw. Interesting. Benji says, yeah, very long. Martin says, hard worship. Hey, Benji. Hey, Martin. Honestly, I wanted it to end it, but you saw I wanted to end it a couple of times. It was a bit long indeed. It was we ended up going in circles at some point. Hey, Linda. Nice to see you. Only 4% of global mammals are considered wild. 96% of global mammals are humans and farm animals. That's insane. Yeah. That gay vegan says, good work, that'll stick with them for the rest of their lives. Good name, by the way. I hope so, yeah. Take a breather, says Mr. Manx, yeah. Hey, Jackie, nice to see you here. Next person is an animal lover. Yeah, who knows? Are you trying to project it? Are you trying to put it out there in the universe? By the way, in total we're 4 people. No, 5. I don't know if you can see behind me. That's Sohan right there, right here. This is Sohan. He's also outreaching. And there's another 3 people on the other side also outreaching. So today we're 4 people. So today we're 5 people outreaching. So hey, Justin, I'm in Amsterdam. Yeah, 5 people outreaching. We're changing. This is how we do stuff. Hello, Alexandra, die radikale Veganerin. So many people speaking up. Yeah, and Alexandra, you would love this because everybody has your sign. Everybody has this sign, but a smaller version. Yeah, they printed it out themselves. It's pretty cool. Yeah, so there you go, Alexander. You're making a huge difference. You guys want to try a social experiment?
Is it recorded?
It's live, yeah.
I don't want to be recorded.
Okay, that's okay.
It's just live.
Yeah.
Can I stay like here?
Yeah, you can stay off camera, but you can come a little bit closer so that you're closer to the phone. You're still off
Okay.
camera. Okay,
Okay.
nice. What's your name?
My name is Mejda.
Mejda, nice to meet you. Where are you from?
I'm from Paris and
Paris.
Lille.
Ah, nice, nice. Okay, so I'm going to turn this around and you tell me what you think. It says animal abuse should be legal.
Is this what?
It says animal abuse should be legal.
Oh my god, no.
Why not?
Because it's not good. Because I love animals.
Oh, you love
I have
animals.
2 cats.
Oh, you have 2
Yeah.
cats. Okay.
I don't want an animal to be abused.
Yeah, okay. So, what is it specifically about your 2 cats, for example? Let's say you're not attached to them, right? Let's say you don't have an
Okay.
emotional attachment to them. What is it specifically wrong about them why is it wrong to abuse them?
To be a what?
To abuse them.
To abuse them?
Yeah.
Because I think they feel the
Yeah,
pain. I
yeah.
think they feel weakness.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's just
That's a good
because I think
explanation.
they
Yeah,
feel
they have
it,
emotions, they feel.
Yeah, they have emotions. They can feel physical pain.
Yeah.
So as you won't, it won't be good to abuse a human. I think it's not good to abuse.
I like
an
that.
animal.
Okay.
My English is not perfect.
That's another. You're doing great.
Okay.
How would you define abuse?
To do something to someone you wouldn't like to get or to
Oh, that's a
be
perfect
victim.
definition. I like that. Okay. So it's wrong to abuse cats or dogs. What
Yeah.
about cows, chickens, pigs?
Every animals.
So do you think that behind animal products, the products that we consume, like
I think it's so bad.
dairy, meat, everything,
I'm
yeah.
not like vegetarian thinking that we should not eat animals.
Yeah.
Because as a Muslim, I think we are allowed to eat some, not all, but some animals. But I think we should not eat them the way we are eating them in our society. I think it's like too much. There's too much in stores, in supermarkets. I think it should be like sometimes, but not. It shouldn't be like at each dinner and each lunch.
But do you think that we have other options?
Yeah, I think we could go to fair firms. I don't know how to say it. Like people who elevate animals and just eat like sometimes not. I don't know how to say it.
Do you think
in
we have
English.
plant-based alternatives?
Yeah, in local firms,
Yeah.
like to eat sometimes in local firms and to buy it here, then buy it in supermarkets where it's a super big échelle production.
But let me ask you, because again, like if we have alternatives,
Yeah.
how can we morally justify killing an animal, regardless if it's in a small farm or a large farm?
Because they are, I think, in local firms and small firms, the animals are not abused by
They are
the
still
conditions
killed. Isn't
of
killing
the conditions of living are less.
But according to your own definition of abuse,
yeah.
which is something that you wouldn't want to happen to you,
Yeah.
isn't killing abuse?
Yeah, hein? Ah, attends, je vais venir avec toi. I
minutes,
think
2 minutes.
I just finished with that.
Yeah.
I think that it's my vision of the word that some animals are.
But your vision says that you're against
Yeah,
animal abuse.
yeah, but I know what you mean. I understand, and I don't think I could explain it well. But I don't see it as an abuse if it's not.
Would it be abusive if somebody killed you for meat?
Yeah, of course, of
So
course.
then why wouldn't it be abusive to kill? Would it be abusive to kill a cat for meat?
No,
So,
I won't eat a cat.
no, but
for
it's
meat.
abusive to kill a cat
Yeah,
for meat.
yeah.
So why isn't it abusive to kill a cow for meat?
That's a good question,
right?
obviously.
And if you're against animal abuse, can you really be against animal abuse, but if you at the same time you support it by buying animal products?
Because I don't know what to answer to that, to be honest.
Yeah.
But I think that's a good question.
Because even in the case of halal meat, right,
Yeah.
which I know of, the animal still gets killed, and even the halal practices, don't know how much you know about them, but they're still very, and a lot of the times they're not even
Because thinking of in my religion, some animals, God allowed us to eat from some animals.
But God
and,
also-
and
you're-
as I know that God knows everything and better than me, He probably knows that these animals.
But this is subjective.
If you don't abuse of your consumption, it's good for you to eat from these animals, and that maybe God make them don't feel the pain. I don't know.
They do feel the pain, but like
This I don't know.
there's science and they do feel the
Okay.
pain. But like in your religion, it also says that you should not even kill a sparrow, any single animal,
Yeah.
when there's no need for it, right?
Yeah.
So when we have other choices available, then any
I
animal we
already
kill,
asked this question for myself, and honestly, I have no answer for that. But
Well,
this question,
I have discussed with scholars,
Yeah.
with Muslim scholars,
Okay,
and,
and what
comes
did they
down,
say?
It comes down to subjectivity, all right? Like,
Yeah.
a lot, right? Like, which one do you value more? Do you value the rule of not harming any animal more than the rule of you can harm these animals?
because both are Islamic rules.
Both
Yeah,
are Islamic rules,
of
and
course.
it totally depends on which one you value more, of course. But if I would argue, if you were to ask me, I'm not religious, by the way,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
if you were to ask me, I would say I would always choose the option that seems the least harmful or the most okay to me. And to me, it never seems okay to kill an innocent animal when I have other options, regardless of how we would do it, right?
That's interesting.
That's just how I see it. And I would say in any religion, any compassionate God would say, don't kill an animal if you don't need to. I think any compassionate God would agree with that. No compassionate God would say, no, kill as many animals as you want if you want to,
No,
right?
of course, of course. Well, it was really interesting talking with you. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, let me give you a card before you go.
Okay.
I appreciate you stopping by. I just want you to... Actually, you know what? I'll ask you one final question. How many more animals should be abused for you before you make a change?
Okay. Is that a real question?
Yeah.
I don't know. Thank you.
You have several resources there. Can you
Okay.
promise me you'll watch one thing? It's called The Most Important Speech You'll Ever Hear.
Okay.
That's the name here.
Okay.
And you can find it by scanning this QR code or going to this website and type in this code.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay. Bye.
Okay, have a good one. Bye. Jackie, thank you so much for the donation, Jackie, for the super chat. 3 hearts of courage, 3 green hearts of courage. Dave says, let her talk. She was going away. I don't know what you mean. Potential future vegan there. It was interesting that she asked herself that question already, right? And that's a good thing. That's a good sign, you know, when people ask themselves and they're not just inherent followers, like this person, Fritz Mueller, who says, I make me a steak now. If you're not just a follower and you actually think for yourself, it's a good sign. It's always a good sign. But yeah, not everybody thinks for themselves. And it's kind of, yeah, as I said, it's ironical that most people would argue that, hey, we are superior to animals because we can reason, we can talk about ourselves, but like we can think for ourselves. But then when you have to actually think for yourself of something that you've been taught your whole life, when you actually have to question something, it seems like most people are incapable of doing that. Kind of ironic. If you have, yeah, Liam is not. Oh yeah. So if you have any religious concerns, I would argue. I think you should watch Christspiracy. I think that it's a documentary you can find online. It's free to watch, and it actually it challenges your belief about your religion and whether it is indeed up to your religion okay what we do to animals today. That is, of course, if you want to actually think for yourself. If you don't, yeah, it is what it is. Padu said, so you're a follower of Fat Buddha. Yes. I'm not religious at all. I'm pretty atheist. In fact, I would argue I'm anti-theist, but I don't go around asking people to not be religious yet. Serious question, can a gorilla be a carnivore and a lion be a herbivore if done from birth? Justin. Yes, they can all be whatever they want to be as long as they get the nutrition that they need. Nobody needs a certain source of nutrition. Everybody just needs nutrition. That's it. Amandeep Singh says, I want to stand with you. Please, we're 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 activists. So another one would always be great, yeah. Gabriel Nervini says, such BS. What specifically do you find BS, Gabriel Nervini? Old Texas Tech Man says, eat more plant-based chicken. I agree, eat more plant-based chicken. Good morning from Montreal, Canada, that vegan teacher. Hey, nice to see you here, Miss Katie. Are they all animal rights activists? Asks the vegan plant. Yes, they are all animal rights activists. We have social experiment. We have, I think, 1, 2, 3 with social experiments. I think different social experiments than me. And then another 2 who are actually have vegan products on the table, and they're showing people the vegan products and stuff. So yeah. How you doing, Mr. Lodevijk?
Good. Hey, live stream. How many people?
100.
Wow. Chippy's such a cool guy. And he's really creating a very nice platform at the moment. Have you told them about that?
Oh, the My Stats V2.
I'm so
Soon.
impressed.
Soon.
Yeah. Okay, I shouldn't probably.
Yeah, not yet, not yet, not yet. We're launching
he will
it
have
soon.
a very, very cool thing to say soon.
Yeah, yeah. How was it? Have you done your social experiment?
Yeah, I'm trying the one with turning it around.
Yeah.
And it's working so well.
It's working well.
I had a whole family, about 7 people, like 3 children, and actually that's 5. No, there were more, 7 people about, and the whole family was like, okay, this is really cool. And
Oh, really?
yeah, I gave them a flyer, and they're gonna eat something vegan afterwards.
Fuck yeah.
Do you have flyers, by the way?
I don't have the flyers on me, no.
Okay,
I only have,
I can give you some if you want.
Yeah. Actually, yeah. The next person that I have, if you want, you can take over, and I'll go to the bathroom. Meanwhile.
Oh, you want to go to the bathroom?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Why not? I'm always up for a
sure.
little trip to the bathroom.
You can do it.
Yeah.
Nice. Let me
Yeah.
get the
Yeah.
flyer and some chocolates and so on.
Sure.
I like to treat people nicely.
He gives them chocolates also. If people go vegan, he gives them chocolates. Who is that friend, Sensi? Sensi, this is one of my friends and the organizers for Vegan Amsterdam, for Vegan Future Amsterdam. Let's see. You want to try a social experiment?
Yeah, sure. What's your social experiment?
Oh, I just ask you some questions, get you to think a little bit.
Oh, okay.
But can you wait for a second? My friend is going to come and he's going to actually do the social experiment. Just give it a second. Lodewijk!
You do the social experiment too? I am tired as well.
You're tired?
Oh, yeah.
That's okay.
It's been a long day, man. Long week.
Yeah.
Okay.
You want to do the social experiment? Wait, I'll give you the microphone.
Sorry. Yeah, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. I'm
What's your
Craig.
name?
Craig.
Craig.
Yeah.
Where you from?
Australia.
Australia.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to ask you a question. Let's see if I'm on camera. Yeah.
Yep.
Are you okay being filmed? Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Depends on the questions.
Who would you save?
Well, naturally, first instinct is around the dog, but
Yeah,
then
yeah.
obviously, I probably shouldn't eat pork.
You shouldn't eat pork.
Yeah.
Why would you say that?
Well, I suppose, it's like, it's an animal, a sentient being.
It's a sentient being. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you think that there is some kind of difference between these two?
Different emotional connection, I think.
Yeah.
And different relationship, I think. So dogs have been something that have been a companion to man for us for so many years.
Mm-hmm.
So we're very used to it in a domestic situation, and not the same, with a
Yeah,
lot
yeah.
of other animals.
But I was going to ask, is there some kind of difference between these animals that justifies the difference in treatment that we give them?
Philosophically, no.
Philosophically,
I suppose, in actual fact, the reality is very different treatment, right?
Yeah, the reality is different, but
Yeah.
is there some kind of reason why the reality is so different for these animals? Like, is one animal, let's say, so stupid or so
No, I don't
ugly or so unlikable that we should
No, I don't think it. Yeah, I
throw
don't
them
think
in
it's
gas
that. No,
chambers and so on?
Yeah,
and
I
the other
don't-
one cuddles.
that's right. I mean, it's not necessarily logical, but I suppose it's also maybe as a result of just as a result of the relationship between, say in the case of dogs, between dogs and man compared to, the nature of the relationship over years between, other animals or pigs and man or whatever. So, is there a good reason for it? Well, I don't think there's a good reason, but I think it's where we find ourselves.
It's the way it is, right?
It's the way it's become.
Yeah, it's the way it's become.
It's the
yeah.
way it's become. Yeah.
So logically,
And I mean, and also, it's relatively recent where the level of moving away, in terms of livestock, shipping. So the shipping of livestock, say in Australia's case, to the Middle East or whatever, in terms of the nature of the way that sort of stuff is, hasn't been something that's been going on for centuries. That it's more of a recent advancement, and I suppose, as in terms of mass agriculture and.
But even if we don't ship them and we just have them in Australia and kill them after 6 months, it's still not okay.
I know where you're coming from. Yeah.
So you say, okay, logically there's no reason, but would you say that when you think about it emotionally, also it doesn't make much sense? Would you say that? Could you feel empathy? Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Could you feel empathy for a pig?
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
And how would you feel if you have a pig, you feel empathy for a pig?
Well,
how would you feel about that pig, being thrown in a gas chamber?
Well, yeah,
You feel?
if you're feeling empathy for it, and have a relationship with it, then
Yeah.
that would be something that would be obviously upsetting.
Upsetting, yeah.
And the thing is, I mean, it's like I'm not in a situation where I actually see that process. So I think also for a lot of us, including myself, I've never slaughtered an animal. I've never had to go and hunt for my own food. I've never had. So I think the nature of having of doing that, and the nature of not seeing the entire process, probably has a very large impact on people as well.
Yeah. So you're disconnected from the process.
We're all disconnected from that
Yeah,
process.
yeah. And would you say that being disconnected from the process is good enough a reason for you to
Not
continue
necessarily.
eating pork?
No, not necessarily. No.
So would you want to stop eating pork?
I eat a lot less than I did,
Yeah.
and eat a lot less beef than I've done in the past.
Okay.
Um,
And you've lowered your consumption because you thought about the animals?
Well, I suppose, and I suppose there's also a health aspect in it as well.
Sure.
But
Did you do it for health reasons or did you do it for
I suppose it's
ethical reasons?
Probably more. I wouldn't say that it was largely driven by ethical reasons.
Yeah.
But,
And
but there's an awareness
things
about
in
it.
life that you, things that you have done or changed in your life for ethical reasons?
Well,
Or you took an ethical
I've taken.
stance?
I used to work in a professional environment, and there were times in that environment where I made decisions and took actions that may not necessarily have been in my own interest,
Yeah.
but were certainly things that more aligned with my value set.
Good. And how did it make you feel?
Well, sometimes yeah, it was. Sometimes it was.
Now looking back on it, does it make you feel proud that
Well,
you
no,
took
you
a
have, I think
stance?
there's a yeah. Well,
Yeah.
because you like to be someone of your word.
Yeah.
You know. Also, I mean, it's often a slightly harder path to
Yeah.
be able to push back against expectations of maybe others that you're working with, and push back against that.
Yeah,
So it's
yeah.
a bit of a harder part, but that makes it a bit more gratifying in the end, you know.
It is,
Yeah,
right?
that's right. Yeah.
So thinking now about this ethical stance that you have towards these animals, right? Because you've already said that logically and even emotionally, you wouldn't actually agree with putting these animals through these kinds of treatments.
That's right. Yeah.
So would you want to take a stance and be proud of yourself
Well, yeah,
and actually do something
yeah.
about
I mean,
it?
well, it's something worth. Well, I mean, you mentioned it was going to be something that
Yeah.
generates thinking. So it's it's something worth thinking about, and also, and I suppose also understanding where the food and product that you eat gets sourced from and how it's sourced.
Yeah.
So, you know, I think that I think actually also we're kind of in a position to be able to do so, to not sort of, to go to places like, which we believe are a bit more ethical, like the Lindenhof out at Abkauda,
Okay.
in terms of the way that they treat their product. And I notice when there's that aspect of free range and things like that. I don't like the idea of battery hens. I don't like that at all. Now, whether or not it's real or convincing about how some producers then sell their product in terms of a more ethical means of being able to look after the animals, then there is a little bit of belief that gets extended in making some of those buying decisions and being in a position to be able to afford it. But it's
Okay.
something to think about. And
Yeah. So
shit,
when
wondering where my wife's gone. So anyway,
as long as you let's say that from this point forward, right?
Yeah, have something to think about.
Let's say you go and eat something. Would you eat some pork after
I'm not
we've
gonna
had
go,
this conversation?
I'm not going to go and get a sausage roll right now. No.
No. But could you?
Yeah.
Could you do that?
Well, I mean, I could, but
Yeah.
it's something to think about, man. And I appreciate the time that you guys
Yeah,
are
yeah.
taking and putting your point of view out. So yeah.
But I'm not here to stand and point to people and say like I don't want to judge you, right?
Yeah.
This is not my job, but
Yeah.
like I care about these animals, right?
Right.
So I also don't care about I'm also not here to stand for some compliment. Like it's very nice
Yeah.
that you say like I appreciate you standing out here and so
Yeah.
on, but all I'm trying to accomplish is for people to actually stop participating in these horrors to these
Right.
animals,
Right,
right?
right.
So as long as you're thinking about it, nothing is really happening, right?
Yeah.
So, how long are you going to think about it? Like, is it like, are you going
Well,
to?
man, I don't know. We just, it's a Sunday afternoon,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
we're walking back from a long day. But
Are you going
yeah.
to eat afterwards? Are you going to have some food?
Yeah, I am.
Yeah.
But
Can I point you to, here is a map of Amsterdam, right?
okay, are you vegan places? Okay.
These are all vegan restaurants.
Yeah.
So when you go to any of these places, everything that you order off the menu is not going
Plant-based.
to include any type of animal abuse,
Okay.
right? Because even like these stories about like ethical farming, and you use also this kind of language, which is really about disconnect. Like you're talking about products and sourcing and so
Yeah.
on, but really we're talking about individual animals and individual lives that are actually being, they're being mistreated. Even if you say like, okay, we have them free range, etc. Here is an animal that is going to stand in a meadow for a while, and then afterwards we're going to send them to
Yeah.
a slaughterhouse,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
If we would do that with dogs, would we accept
well,
that?
yeah. I mean,
Would we
yeah.
accept,
Yeah.
sourcing dogs ethically?
Yeah.
Would you say
I-
like, oh, that's an ethical thing to do?
Well, I lived
Free-range dogs?
in Korea for 3 years, right?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
there was a there's been a history of that within Korea
Sure,
that's
but
actually
did you
been
agree
backed
with
off
that?
a lot.
No.
No, I didn't. But
so
yeah,
even
but
like,
when
when you're saying like,
but-
I went to this place and they do it more ethically and so on,
Yeah.
you have to think about like what is truly ethical, right? Is it truly ethical to have animals and then to slaughter them for meat that we actually
Yeah.
don't need? I mean, I've not eaten meat in 25 years, right?
Right.
we're both vegan.
Right.
All these people here are vegan. It's definitely possible to live vegan.
Sure.
Would you agree with that?
I'm sure it's possible. I've got friends that are vegan
Okay,
as well.
cool.
And I've been to some of these. I'm sure I've been to some of these restaurants because we eat together.
Okay.
So yeah.
Cool. So I'll just leave it here.
Leave it with that.
Go and visit one of these places. Are you going to visit one of these places?
Actually, the one that is around the corner, just near the Della Rissa Strat.
Okay.
That's a place that we've been to a number of times.
Cool.
Yeah. So,
Can you make me a
well,
promise that your next meal is going to be vegan?
I'll give it a try. I'll give it a good try because tonight we're having dinner. Well, I might be vegetarian. I don't know.
Yeah.
Because we're going to a friend's place that they're vegetarians.
Okay. Just
So-
okay. Can you
Plant-based.
Can you make me a promise that in the next 2 days you're going to
I'll try a
one
vegan
of-
restaurant. I
Okay,
can do that.
Cool. I'll give
I
you a
can do that.
chocolate bar.
Okay. A
It's
vegan
all
chocolate
vegan.
bar.
It's a vegan chocolate bar. Have
Thanks
a
very
nice
much.
day.
You
yeah?
too, man. Take
Think
care.
about it, and
Yeah,
as
I
long
will.
as you're thinking about it,
Then
nothing is
then-
happening, right? You have to take action.
Well, yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
There's- yeah,
It's
I
about
understand
action.
that
It's
as
not
well.
about thought.
Well, yeah. Or yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Well, fair enough. Take care. Good luck.
Yep.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye. Have a nice day.
How was the conversation?
Yeah, it was good, but you know, I didn't want to push him too hard because he was really, you could see that he was a bit reluctant, you know.
Yeah.
But he was using so much language that was like, you know, like ethical sourcing and you
I
know,
heard it,
product.
like product. They treat the products
Yeah,
better. What
they
do you mean?
treat-
they're-
Oh,
yeah,
I hate
heard
that.
Yeah.
I'm like trying to not like push him too hard and you
Yeah.
know, trying to keep it positive. Also, like, his next meal is going to be vegetarian. I had to just let that go. you know,
Yeah.
It's not possible to just convert this guy on the spot, but
Yeah.
he was going in a good direction. So I felt pretty okay with
Seed
it.
planted.
Seed was planted.
That's what we need.
Yeah.
This is Lodify. But have you finished your YouTube channel? How is that going?
It's coming. Yeah.
It's coming.
Yeah, it's coming. Yeah, it's the next video should be there, or the first video should be there within a month.
Nice. So if you enjoyed his talk, maybe follow him when he's there. I'll put a link for your channel. Yeah.
Okie doke. Have a nice time.
Yeah. Give me some of those maps. Huh?
Oh yeah. Here we go.
Nice. Thank you.
Okay. Bye bye.
Let's go back to. You want to take your sign? Yeah.
I might poach off you.
Yeah. I mean, send them to me first and then poach. Yeah. Thanks. Does he have a channel? He will have a channel. Yeah. He's working on that. Yeah. Who was that guy? That's the founder and activist for Vegan Future Amsterdam. It's a group of activists that we fight for animal rights here in Amsterdam. And he's got an approach where he's a little bit more lenient towards the people. He wants to make them promise that they'll try vegan restaurants. That's why they give them a vegan map, a map of vegan restaurants. Because you know, a lot of people don't really realize just how good vegan food is. You know, like just like this person that I had earlier, right, was saying, because I like it. Like, you know, maybe if they realize that they like it, also in other situations, why not? More Joy says, I think that's a good way. Yeah, I mean, you know, to each their own. I personally like to hold people a little bit more accountable. But yeah, he does a good job, you know, he does a great job. I think that's the difference, right? When you do activism with a camera, it's a little bit different than when you do activism without a camera. Without a camera, he does it really nicely because you're meeting the person out there, you're explaining, you're trying to make some promises, you try to get them to see, you discuss the ethical sides. And you know, maybe after you discuss the ethical sides and you understand, and you make that promise and you go to a vegan restaurant and you see just how good the food is, then, you know, maybe you're like, what the hell's holding me back, you know? That's the whole point. A little bit more lenient is a scary phrase, says Liam Jones. Yeah, you know, when it comes to holding people accountable, there is leniency towards it, right? So, want to try a social experiment? Some people need a Gary Yourofsky and some other James Aspey. Yeah, exactly. Hi. I'm gonna ask you some questions, get you to think a little bit. But first of all, are you okay being live for my YouTube channel?
Okay.
What's your name?
Layla, nice Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. I'm Chip. Where are you from?
I'm from London.
From London. Okay, nice. So the social experiment is about our relations to animals. Do you have any pet companions or animals that you care about?
No.
Okay, then I'll just turn this around and you tell me what you think. It says animal abuse should be legal.
It should be legal.
Yeah.
I can't see why it should be legal.
Do you think animal abuse is wrong?
Well, yes.
Why?
I'm guessing you're some kind of philosopher then. Okay. Why is it wrong?
Yeah.
Well, if we believe we shouldn't harm other living beings. And then I guess if you go down this line, you're getting into like vegetarian, veganism arguments, aren't you? Yeah, if you think abuse of any sort is wrong, then I guess you can extend it to the animal abuse is wrong. But I think the question of like, should it be legal? That's a bit different to like, should it be illegal?
Yeah.
Like, should we be actively encouraging it?
Yeah.
Or should we be banning it?
Should we be actively encouraging animal
I
abuse?
mean, probably not. I don't
Yeah.
really see what positive outcome that would
Fair
create.
enough. Should we be banning animal abuse?
I would lean more towards banning it, yes,
Okay.
than encouraging it. Because I
And-
think legalization has a positive spin.
Fair enough. And you've actually touched upon it. Do you think that behind animal products, where there's some inherent abuse happening there?
Behind animal products, probably yes.
Yeah, yeah. So then, would you say that banning animal abuse would then obviously involve some form of banning of animal products?
I mean, most likely yes. I mean, most of us who consume animal products have to do kind of mental gymnastics to actually like ethically justify it. I think.
Okay. Are you one of those people who
I
does
think
mental gymnastics?
unfortunately yes.
Yeah. So what's your gymnastics routine?
I
for
think
justifying?
the mental gymnastics is kind of to be a bit detached in a way, and I think once you become used to it, because if you ask a logical question like why should you drink cow's milk and not dog's milk, if I told you to drink dog's milk, that sounds
I wouldn't drink cow's milk.
no, I know, but
Yeah.
if you were like, there's no reason necessarily that you should drink. If you're drinking cow's milk, why not drink other kinds of milk? It's just like
Exactly.
what you've been socialized into thinking.
Yeah. So what is holding you back right now from saying no to animal abuse, especially given that you say you're against it?
Well, unfortunately, I just think it's just habit. If I was being like perfectly honest,
Well,
I try. Like, my local cafe's vegan. I try and reduce consumption as much as possible. But you know, I think it's probably something you have to make a much more conscious effort to do something about.
Yeah, and I appreciate you calling it a habit because that's what for most people that's usually the issue.
It
It's a
is.
habitual thing. But do you think that your emotion towards this habit is a bit is it apathetic or is it?
I think sometimes, yes, it ends up being a bit apathetic.
Yeah. So do you think that is apathy a good emotion to have towards this, or?
No, but I think we're very apathetic towards a lot of things in today's world.
Yeah.
Like, we're apathetic towards abuse towards humans as
Yeah,
well.
fair.
So, like, which one do we start caring about more? That's also another, like, I guess, moral question.
I would say, when it comes to systemic abuse, which is arguably the one also which animals go through and humans go through, right? I would say you always have the moral obligation to choose the one with the least amount of abuse, right?
Yeah.
Like if presented with a chance to buy a phone that abuses humans more than a phone that doesn't abuse humans
Yeah.
or abuses less, then you would see it in yourself to have the moral obligation to choose the other one, right? The one that
Yes,
abuses
you
less.
would.
So then, do you not think that the same should apply in the case of animal products
Well,
for food, for clothing?
exactly, and I'm sure, and that's why people would say like some indigenous practices where they kill an animal and eat it or use all parts of it, which are a lot more sustainable than, soy farming.
Regardless if you use all parts of an animal, you're
Of course, it's still
exploiting and
abuse.
killing
It just
an animal,
depends what
yeah.
angle you're coming at it from.
Yeah.
I think. Like,
Well,
are you?
is there ever an angle where you can morally justify taking the life of an innocent sentient being when you have the option not to?
I mean, probably not, but it depends on the angle you're taking. Like, are you a utilitarian? Are you like, I don't know. It depends on there's no like definite answer, I would say.
I would say even in a utilitarian scenario, you're still, because what exactly as a utilitarian would you say you derive more utility from the exploitation of killing of an animal rather than not?
Well, I guess it would depend on the context, and probably in the modern context, like if you're living here in the Netherlands, you don't
Yeah.
need to make that choice.
Exactly.
But if you're like
Or
a
in London
human,
also.
or in London also, but
Yeah.
maybe if you're like stranded somewhere and the only thing you could possibly eat is an animal there, and I guess you're selfish in the sense you're interested in your survival, you may make that option, like choose that.
And obviously, in situations of survival, you could
Well, that's
you
what
could
I'm
probably
saying.
justify even killing a human being and eating them, right?
probably.
Yeah,
I guess.
like the people in the Andes where they crash
Yeah.
with the plane, they justify that. But that wouldn't justify, just because it would be required in a situation of in an extraordinary situation. We couldn't
No,
really
yeah.
morally justify it doing it day to day, right?
It is true, but I think sadly most of the time morals aren't guiding much that's going on in the world today.
So then let me ask you, do you think you can maintain your status of being against animal abuse while at the same time supporting it? by
I mean,
buying-
no, probably I'm a massive hypocrite, right?
Yeah.
Like, I wouldn't stand up and be like, I'm an animal rights activist when I consume animal products, but, you know, I can try to do better.
Yeah. So what would incentivize you to do better?
What would
because I'm
incentivize
here
me?
speaking on behalf of animals. I just want
Yeah.
no animals to be exploited for you specifically.
I mean, it's kind of a tough one, I guess. You need to like change habits and maybe, you know, make other products cheaper and this kind of stuff. And
But do you see it as a moral obligation to pick the to not exploit animals, to not put them in those situations?
I mean, yes. And like, what was interesting, I lived in Vienna for a bit. There, you can almost become vegetarian just quite easily because meat is so expensive. Whereas
Yeah.
I think in the UK, vegan products are much more expensive. So
No, they're
you know,
actually
if
cheap. No.
vegan products.
I was there last year, and
You think it
pretty
was cheap?
Yeah, it was pretty cheap. Yeah.
I mean, it depends what you're talking
Yeah.
about, to be honest. And I think.
But
It's just like,
there's 3 studies, by the way, I'm sorry for interrupting you there.
No,
There's 3
it's okay.
studies that in UK, Western Europe, Australia and Canada and US,
yeah.
the being plant-based is actually cheaper, because a lot of the times we just think of that the plant-based meats and maybe we say those are more expensive.
Yeah.
But most of the food is like
So are you-
pasta,
are you
rice,
vegan?
beans. Yes, I
You
am
are vegan,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah, what do you think it means to be vegan, by the way?
I mean, it can mean many things. It might mean that you can have multiple reasons for becoming vegan. But I don't know.
If
what
I
does
were
it
to
mean
tell you that I'm a feminist, what do you think a feminist means?
a feminist. Well, again, there's lots of different types of feminism, so I'm not really sure what angle you're coming at there.
I would say feminism means equal rights and opportunities for women, right?
Yeah, in a
So-
very broad sense. But like, are you a radical feminist? Are you like a
Fair enough.
liberal
There's
feminist?
maybe
Like,
maybe
yeah.
there's I don't know, there's degrees to that, but either way, like a feminist itself only means equal rights
Yeah,
and
but
opportunities. to women.
it might mean that, but how are you going to achieve those ends? And like,
Yeah,
you
that's-
might have.
That's how you do activism, right? For feminism, let's say. So
But-
veganism is the same.
you think it's a
rights
belief for you,
It is. The definition of veganism.
but it's
is
practice as well.
Yeah, well, the definition of veganism, it's literally rejecting animal exploitation, right? Rejecting animal exploitation as
Okay.
much as practicable and possible.
Okay.
So obviously you can't say I reject animal exploitation if I go around supporting it, right? If I go
No,
around
no.
giving money for people to exploit animals.
No.
So I also just like I can't say I'm a feminist if I go around paying people to beat women or to or to put women down. You see?
Well, I would hope not.
Yeah,
But
just
also, yeah.
even if the case were that I like the product that comes out of that, right? Like
Mm.
even if it were the case that out of me paying somebody to beat a woman, I don't know, somehow there's a product that comes out of it and I like it. If that it's
You're not a
it's-
utilitarian.
yeah,
no.
so it's not. It's a deontological point of view where
Yeah.
you respect the individual. That's why you you.
Yeah, and I think that's fair enough.
Yeah. Do you, and it seems to me like you align with this idea of not.
Yeah, I do. I think in an ideal world, I probably would be vegan. I just think personally, when it comes to like my relationship with food, and that's something I would need to like work on and learn to maybe try new foods, because I'm not a super experimental person. But
Yeah.
like I said, the place I go to for my local coffee shop where I like frequent all the time is like vegan, and like I do
That's good.
dip into those spaces.
Yeah.
Sadly, I was brought up on loving steak.
I get it. I also grew up eating animal products. You know,
Yeah.
it's not. We all grew up in this
No, exactly.
situation. But we as adults have like a
No,
moral
we have-
responsibility.
we do.
We can't just say we've been taught one way and say that that's.
No, of course not. I know, but it's just, I think sometimes, not to undermine this argument, but it's like, how do you choose which moral obligation to focus on first? Like, why is it for you that it's animals as opposed to like?
Well, fair enough. That's
No.
That's what I chose to be an
Yeah.
animal rights activist for, right?
Yeah.
But I'm not here trying to advocate for you to become an animal rights activist.
No.
I'm advocating for you to make the choice where you don't exploit the animals.
Yeah.
Because you make choices every day, and you make a choice when you buy food or you eat food or you buy clothes or you eat clothes or you wear clothes, right?
Yeah.
You make choices for that.
Yeah, of course.
So I suppose nobody's forcing you into making any of those choices, but you choose yourself. So then why not choose the products that don't exploit
So you
animals.
think it's like an individual responsibility? Like,
we do have individual responsibility.
Of course, we have
towards it, yeah.
individual responsibility, but don't you think there's more to be done at the kind of systemic level? Like, do you believe in activism
Perhaps,
like that
yeah.
to try and attack like battery
I
farming?
believe all of
and-
them are needed in this situation because
All
like
of them.
98% of people are still supporting it, right? So if
Mm-hmm.
we ever need to reach a level where we're tackling systemic, tackling the systemic abuse of animals in a, I don't know, systematic way, not to call it in
Yeah,
a,
I mean, but it
like
would be
from
like-
the government and stuff, we need more people on board.
I guess like the environmental equivalent is like people who just want to go blow up an oil pipeline
Yeah.
versus, you know, try and be more sustainable in your day-to-day life, and like what's the goal and how do you, beyond like your individual eating choices, what else can you do? Like, are you making sure that you're, you know, not buying fast fashion because that's destroying the environment and then destroying animal habitats, and like how far in your like everyday practice does that go?
Yeah, exactly. But like when it comes to situations, as I said before, when it comes to systemic abuse, there are situations where it can be seem murky. Some situations can be
Yeah.
arguably one better than the other. You can there might be some complexity behind them.
Yeah.
But when it comes to animal products and animal abuse, it's simple.
Yeah.
Animal product abuses animals, a vegan product doesn't, right?
Mm.
So regardless if you if you don't want to engage in the whole complexity, if you don't want to learn everything behind it,
Mm-hmm.
you can still always make the choice by choosing a plant-based product always, right?
Fair enough.
It's not like you said with fast fashion or
No,
everything.
no, I know. It's just interesting how far things can go. And like, do you consume honey, for example?
No.
No, you don't. Okay,
No.
so you're like full on rejecting.
I mean, I respect
reject it all.
animals. I cannot say that I respect animals by forcing them into slaughterhouses or paying
No,
for
no.
somebody to kill them or pay for somebody to treat them like objects so that I get a product from them.
Mm-hmm.
And honey is like one of those things that I'm like, maple syrup,
Yeah.
agave syrup, there's so many apple syrup, there's so
Yeah.
many options that I'm like, why would I specifically need honey?
No, that's fair enough. And this
Yeah.
is interesting. I need to go. But another interesting point to think about, because I think with kind of the rise of like right-wing movements right now, there's a lot of soft moves away from veganism. That's one thing I've noticed. Veganism was on the rise and now it seems to be declining, and you've got the promotion of like the carnivore diet and these kind of things. And I think this is kind of, it's interesting to be talking about this stuff because I think actually there's been a lot of backlash against veganism.
I mean, I would argue that actually veganism is not declining. Statistics are saying the opposite.
It's going up. I was talking
Yeah.
on like a social, cultural level. It's become kind of attached to the idea of like wokeism. And this
Yeah,
kind of
I
stuff.
have seen that.
And
It's
like,
kind of
it's very strange that like something like the carnivore diet can become a trend. It feels like a bit of
yeah, it's
backlash.
it's just the reason why I'm not too worried about it, to be honest, is
Okay.
because the carnivore diet is a trend, just like raw vegan is a trend, just like all the
Yeah.
other things are trends. They're just trends, and they're just people who are profiting out of it.
yeah.
But for veganism, for animal rights activists like myself,
But
we're
don't-
not making a profit out of this.
No,
we're
no,
just
of course,
defending
but-
animals.
What I'm trying to say is the social climate seems to be making maybe it a bit more difficult for like
Oh, for
animal
sure,
rights
yeah.
conversations.
For sure,
That's what I'm
for
trying
sure,
to
it
say.
can become a little bit more difficult. Obviously, you know, like when you don't respect the rights of women or
Yeah, exactly.
LGBTQ
It
people,
all kind
how
of links
can you?
together.
Yeah, how can you regard animals? But like, I tend to believe that most people believe they love animals, believe that they like animals, and they respect animals. So when I have these conversations, I just want to show the cognitive dissonance a little
Yeah,
bit
of
and the
course.
contradiction in beliefs, right?
Yeah, and we all do live with some cognitive dissonance. So
Yeah, but I think we have a responsibility that
Yeah.
if we think or we know that we have some cognitive dissonance, to kind of settle it and try to make the best choices that we can make.
yeah, I think that's fair.
How
Well,
many more animals? One final question. How many
Okay.
more animals should be exploited for you before you make this change?
For me, oh god. I mean, hopefully none.
Hopefully none. You
Hopefully
gotta go
none.
in. I appreciate you.
Thank you.
Let me give you a card. Can I give you a card?
Yeah, of
Are
course.
you tourist in Amsterdam?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll give you a map of Amsterdam.
Oh.
You have vegan restaurants here.
Oh wow.
I just recommend the vegan sushi bar. It's a really nice one if you like
Thank
sushi.
you.
And you have other vegan places and they're
And
organized.
this
by-
live stream.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Bye guys. Nice
Hey,
to
thank
meet
you. Have a good one. There you go. Love that final question, Nick. Who knows? You guys want to try a social experiment? Hello everyone, welcome to the stream. I appreciate you guys being here. I hope you're subscribed. If you're not subscribed, come on, what do you do? Subscribe. You're enjoying this. I mean, I don't know if you're enjoying this, subscribe. I'm not going to force you to subscribe if you're not enjoying this. Like, subscribe, do all that beautiful thing. It's just numbers that mean something to me. They don't mean anything. So far, we've been having some pretty decent conversations. Why they call you Chip Guy? Because my name is Ciprian. Most people call me Chip because it's easiest. So then I put my handle as that Chip Guy so that people remember me. Huh? Who is that guy? Oh, that Chip Guy. I remember that Chip Guy. Yeah.
Send them your way.
Okay, thank you. So Loaded Bike is gonna send some people my way if you find some. Non-human animals are here with us, not for us. Exactly. Maybe that would have been a good. Hey, Davey, nice to see you. That was a good. Yeah. So maybe that would have been also a good question to ask her. Do you think animals are here for us or with us? But I think she would have said with us. I think she was, like, that's. I don't know what to do about apathy. I need to learn how to deal with apathy. Apathy is the most difficult thing to outreach, right? Because what can you say to somebody who's apathetic towards a cause that you're. Hey. You want to try the social experiment?
Why not?
Are you okay being live for my YouTube channel? If you're not okay, you can also be off camera, by the way. Okay? Okay, off camera. Okay. So, do you have any? So my social experiment is about the relations that we have with animals. Do you have any animals that
Yes,
you're
we
fond
have.
of? Yeah, tell me.
We have a dog,
You have a dog? What's their name?
Maximilian.
Maximilian Max. Okay, nice. Can you tell me something about him?
Yeah, it's half Yak Terrier and half Doberman. And he's 11, almost 12 years old.
Almost 12 years old.
Yeah.
Has
all
he
the
been?
Time, all the time he's with us.
Oh, nice. I like that. Okay. How do you see Max? Do you see Max as a member of your family, or do you
course.
see them? Oh,
yes,
you see
of
him
course,
as a member
he's
of
the
family.
member of the family.
Do you recognize that he has a personality or something like that?
Oh yes, of course.
Do you think that behind those eyes, when you look at him and you see his eyes, do you think there's a somebody there?
Czy uważasz, że jak patrzysz Maxowi w oczy, ktoś tam jest w środku? W duszy? Yes, of course.
Of course, I like that. Okay, okay. So then I'll bring it back. Do you think that all animals are the same? Do you think behind their eyes there is a somebody?
Czy wszystkie zwierzęta uważasz, że są takie same, że też mają?
To znaczy pod tym kątem, że nasz jest szczęśliwy i widać to w oczach, a te w schroniskach na
Ale
przykład
czy
to już
widzisz
mają
to, że
pustkę.
wszystkie, że wszystkie?
Nie.
No.
No?
No.
Which animals do you think are not? They don't have personalities, or they're not a somebody behind?
Not that they don't have personality, but it seems that they are empty when you are looking in their eyes,
Okay.
something like that.
Like which animals are those?
Nie, że nie mają osobowości.
Nie, ale są zagubione, mają taką pustkę w oczach, na przykład te, co są w schroniskach, to są takie,
Yeah,
wiesz,
the one that
zagubione.
are in shelter, they look sad. And
They look sad, but there's
Yes.
still somebody there, right, who's
yeah,
experiencing
personality.
that.
Of course,
Yeah.
every animal have personality, I think.
Yeah. So then, do you think that the same applies to the animals that we usually farm, like cows, chickens, pigs?
Czy tak samo uważamy ze zwierzętami, które hodujemy? Kurczaki, krowy, świnie.
Niestety tak.
Unfortunately, yes.
Unfortunately, yes. Yeah. So do you think that because I would imagine that you would never ever support an industry that would kill dogs, that would exploit dogs, that would.
Yes, and we don't support the companies that are making experiments on
Yeah, exactly.
animals as well.
Exactly. So, do you think that shouldn't the same apply to all animals, like to cows, to chickens, to pigs, to not support industries like farming industries, just because we have alternatives? We can choose for food, for clothing, for everything else. We have alternatives. Therefore, how can we ever justify killing beings who are somebody
Jak
behind
mamy
those eyes?
usprawiedliwiać zabijanie zwierząt, które hodujemy na farmach?
Straszne. My jemy
Nie,
mięso, ale no,
We eat meat.
Yeah.
człowiek nie
unfortunately.
analizuje tego,
Yeah.
nie? Bo nie kocha tych taką miłością jak psa na przykład, nie?
Yeah, you don't put so many feelings on that animals.
Yeah.
Like you are putting your feelings on dog that you are keeping in your house.
It's true.
Right? You care about those animals that you are keeping in your house, but not on those that you are farming, right?
But the reason why you wouldn't harm dogs isn't because necessarily you care about them, right? The reason why you wouldn't support an industry that kills dogs or, as you said, tests on dogs is not because you care for those dogs, but rather because you know that behind those dogs there's sentient beings who feel, who have emotions, who want to live.
Powiedz tak, że jak ja bym na przykład widziała, jak wygląda zabicie świni albo krowy, to bym przestała jeść mięso. Po prostu nie widziałam tego, nie?
My wife said that if she would see how they have been killed in that slaughterhouse,
Yeah.
right? She wouldn't take any more meat to eat, yeah, something like that.
I mean, luckily I have that with me.
No, don't show. No, don't show it.
You don't want to see it?
I saw it.
You saw it?
I was
Ja
already
nie
in a
mogę
slaughtery.
zobaczyć, bo szok.
Yeah. So then let me ask you, because I can respect your right to not see it, of course, and I will choose because I believe consent is important. But if you don't want to see it, right, you are probably aware that it is bad what's happening to them. You are probably aware it is violent. It is.
Something like
Yeah. So I understand that when we buy animal products, we don't really see it because these industries, they keep it away from us just so that
Correct.
they have a
Correct.
financial
Yes.
incentive to do
Correct.
that, right?
Correct.
But that doesn't mean it doesn't happen, right? It doesn't mean that we're not
It is
still
happening.
supporting.
It is
yeah.
happening.
And it doesn't mean that when we buy an animal product that we don't support it. We do support it when we do that.
Part of that, yes, but like we said before, we eat meat.
But you don't need to
are
eat meat,
aware.
right?
I'm not sure. We are.
Like,
we have a.
I'm studying to be a certified nutritionist, and I can tell you that the first thing I learned was that we don't need animal products.
To eat meat.
We are made to eat meat, just like we are made to eat meat. Like we can, but it doesn't mean that we have to, right? Just like
I personally, I do not see alternative for meat.
I mean, all the macro and micronutrients that you can find in meat, you can find in plant-based products. There's no nutrients that you cannot find in plant-based
But it
products.
doesn't taste the same way.
Yeah, but see, now we got down to it's the taste.
That's something
yeah.
else. That's something else. Right?
Yeah, but do you think that the taste is like a sensory pleasure? Do you think that the sensory pleasure justifies killing an innocent sentient animal? Somebody.
Czy walory smakowe usprawiedliwiają zabijanie tych zwierząt?
No nie, pewnie, że...
It doesn't justify, but it is happening.
I know it is happening, but it's not just that it is happening, because we can say that it is happening, but the reality is that you are supporting it, right? Because just because
popieramy to.
Tak, no inaczej jakbyśmy też byli wychowani, nie? Na niejedzeniu mięsa, to się z domu też dużo bierze,
Yeah,
nie?
maybe if we would be raised in a society which is not eating meat, maybe that would be different. But
I understand I understand that in the past, right? But like we are in the society that we are. You too value animals. You say you respect animals. How can we say we value and respect animals? How can we say we respect their
eat them.
individuality and kill them and eat them when we don't need to, right? Like in the society. Luckily, you're in a society where you have alternatives. We are all in societies where we have alternatives, and you seem like compassionate, intelligent people, right? Like we can't really justify the violence that they go through by saying that we like the taste of them, right? I mean, we can like other things too. We don't need to like that.
That's something strange and difficult to explain, but it is how it is. Yes.
Yeah, but do you find it in yourself to ever stop? Do you find it in yourself to ever think that maybe it's so cruel that we shouldn't actually participate in it, just like you wouldn't for
Czy
dogs?
myślisz, że kiedykolwiek przestaniemy jeść mięso ze względu na to, że właśnie współczujemy zwierzętom, coś takiego?
No wiesz co, dla chcącego nic trudnego, nie? Wystarczy sobie przełożyć wszystko w głowie i...
Maybe if you will evaluate everything in your head, something like that, maybe.
Można
Yeah.
spróbować, nie? Zawsze można, w każdym chwili
Every time you are able to
Yes.
try at least
Yeah, exactly.
something like that.
Exactly. Okay. Well, I'll just leave you with one final question, and this is the difficult one. How many more animals should be exploited and killed for you before you make a change?
Ile zwierząt powinno zostać
No.
zabitych, zanim my My sami zrozumiemy to i przestaniemy jeść
Nie
mięso.
zastanawiamy się nad tym
Well,
w tym codziennym
for
życiu.
now
nie?
we are not able to consider
How many do you want?
the less as possible.
Yeah, or zero, huh? Because even that one animal, that one individual, like imagine Max going into a slaughterhouse for somebody, one individual going into a slaughterhouse for anybody else is still wrong. And you can choose to
Yes,
not put
correct.
anybody
And
in that
if somebody
slaughterhouse.
would hurt my Max, I would do some.
Yeah, and
pain
it's
for
warranted,
that-
and
for
it's
that
and it's
person, but-
warranted because you care about them.
Tak, jakby wszyscy mieli podobne myślenie jak pan i potrafili to zrobić z dnia na dzień, to by to od razu przeszło, nie?
Yeah,
Tylko to
maybe
by-
if a lot of people had the same way of thinking as you are, so that should be a short progress.
That's what I'm trying to do,
That
right?
should be
I'm
a
trying
short- a
I'm
short
trying to
progress.
get more people to, because you seem to think the same way as I do. Like you seem to be aligned. We seem to align on the same values, but you don't seem to act on those values. And all I'm saying is that you can act on those values. You can do it, and it's so easy, and you'll feel so good about it. It's really, for me, it was one of the best decisions I've made my entire life. Going vegan, saying no to any animal exploitation.
Powiedz panu, że jesteśmy z Polski. W Holandii jest tak drogie mięso, że tu jest łatwiej to zrobić.
You know, we are from Poland. And,
Yeah.
When we came to Netherlands, the meat, I don't know why, but the meat here is so expensive that even for us, it's more possible to go
It is cheaper.
vegetarian.
Yeah,
It is
yeah.
cheaper
It is
to
also
go
cheaper,
with
yeah,
vegetarian
yeah.
than stay
Yeah.
stay a meat lover or something like that.
Yeah. And when I say, by the way, vegetarians,
Mhm.
they still exploit animals. I don't know if you know what happens to. Do you know what happens to dairy cows, for example? To cows that produce milk, to dairy cows.
Dairy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know what happens to cows?
No, I don't.
So
Don't show it.
I don't. You don't want to see
She's
it.
very
Okay.
sensitive.
Okay. So farmers, they forcefully impregnate cows.
Oh yeah, I forgot about this. Yeah,
They put their hands in their
to
anus
produce milk.
to hold their
Yes,
cervix.
yes, yes,
because they need to be pregnant, right, in order to produce
yeah,
milk.
and then
When the babies are born, what happens to them?
it is raised to produce milk as well, or to be a bigger, let's say, adult, and in their place, the adult one is going to slaughter it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, but the first thing is that they separate it from their mother, so they don't
Yes,
drink their milk,
yeah,
which
yeah.
I will say is fucked up to separate the baby from a mother. And then yes, they get killed if male because they don't produce milk. If female, year over year, forceful impregnation.
Yes.
And after like 6 to 8 years, the farmer can no longer impregnate them with ease. They're literally called spent, like an object. The name
Okay.
that they're given is just like objects, and then they get killed, and they can live up to 25 years. So they live a fraction of their lifespan, a quarter of their lifespan, where they get
Because
forcefully impregnated.
when it will become older,
Yeah.
meat is not good anymore, right? And that's why they don't keep old cows and bulls.
Yeah, exactly. But all of this, we just treat them like objects. But as you
Yeah.
said, there's an individual behind those eyes.
Yes.
Yeah, so they don't really deserve to be treated like objects. They deserve body autonomy just as much as all of us do,
Yes.
right? Okay, let me give you a card to help you out. Do you guys live here? Or do you?
Yeah, next few months. Yeah.
Okay, so this is a map of vegan restaurants.
Vegan
in
restaurant. Oh,
yeah.
Perfect. Thank
Yeah,
you.
I suggest you try some of them. A lot of them are good, like especially vegan sushi bar. This
Oh,
one,
yeah.
it's so good. I love it. And
We like sushi, so we will try it.
and on this other side, I recommend that you go on this website right here, Vegan Future,
Yes.
and there's a video there called "The Most Important Speech You'll Ever Hear." Just
Thank you
watch
very
that;
much.
you'll enjoy it.
We will.
It talks about what we talk, and it's not gruesome. It's nothing.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank
very
you so much. What's your name?
Fabian.
Fabian. I'm Chip.
I'm
Nice
Sylvia.
to meet you.
Sylwia.
Sylvia. Nice to meet you. Let's be compassionate and respect animals. That's all I'm here for. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a good one.
Have a good one.
Honestly, these two people were so compassionate. I felt so much compassion for, like, she couldn't like, it felt to me like she didn't really speak that much English, but she understood a little bit of it. You didn't really see any of it. She understood it. I think you heard it. They all understood it. They all felt it. I just hope they make the change. I like they were so they seem to get it from the start, you know, they seem to get it from the start. And I think this whole idea of there being a somebody behind those eyes is something that really most people understand it, you know. So yeah. Yeah, it was a good conversation. It was a good enough conversation. You guys want to try a social experiment? By the way, everybody, thank you for being here, and please subscribe if you are not subscribed already. You know, Polish upbringing is very focused on meat, says Mrs. Bucket. Yeah. The LTN, why is it so many just don't get it? You know, the LTN, I think the reality is that a lot of people do get it. But what happens is that when you do get what's happening, your mind says, hey, don't think about it. You don't have to change. Try to continue doing it. Because you know what? To continue realizing what you're supporting, to continue realizing the violence, the exploitation, the abuse of somebody's, right? Because we've acknowledged that there is somebody behind those eyes. To continue all that while at the same time acknowledging that you like the products that come out of it, there's a contradiction, right? So your brain just says, you know what, I'd rather go with what I like because I anyway don't see. So in my personal opinion, I think that the most successful thing that animal agriculture does is hide it from us. So if animal agriculture would show it, if in supermarkets, on products, they would show what animals go through, whether that's a video in the supermarket, whether that's a photo on the product, whatever it is, I think things would change drastically very fast, because it's just a disconnect for most people. I don't think most people don't get it. I think most people get it. And I think even here people listening to this now, people who aren't vegan, they still acknowledge that it is morally preferable to be vegan. It is morally preferable to not exploit innocent sentient beings. They do acknowledge the fact that animals are beautiful beings who have a personality, who want to live, who don't want to die. But you know what? You swipe it under the rug and you say, what can I do? I can't change. And you come up with all the justifications. Some make a little more sense than others. Well, it's expensive. It's not really. You can make it work. You have the means to make it work. Well, I like this more. You can like other things. You know, just like you don't like all the foods that you used to like when you were small, you can change. You can like other things. You want to try a social experiment? It's the reality. It's just, but that's also, it's a form of apathy, right? Or of ignorance in a sense. But you can't just swipe that under the rug. You can't just be apathetic or be ignorant and say that's okay. Because maybe while it's okay for you, and maybe there's no repercussions for you continuing and participating in that, you are committed, you are doing something immoral. You are participating in something that if you were on the other side of it, you would run the fuck away from. So don't be that guy. Don't be that girl. Don't be that person. Don't be that person to do something immoral just because you don't really see it, okay? If you have the option, please be a good person, okay? And yeah, subscribe. That's not part of being good or bad. That's just part of my own ambition. Veganism is a principle and a philosophy, so only humans can be vegan, but animals can eat a plant-based diet. Very well put, nerds like us, yeah. I don't think it's necessary for you vegans, but for me and many others it is. You shouldn't stand in the way of another's completely natural food choice. Well, it would be a completely natural food choice to kill and eat dogs. It would be a completely natural food choice to kill and eat humans. Yet, it's not something you would advocate for, either of them, right? So don't give me the whole natural appeal to nature. And do you really think that something being natural equates to it being moral? Do you think morality and nature have something in common? They don't. They're just two separate things. So why would we care if something is natural? Even something being natural doesn't necessarily mean it's healthy, by the way. So that's why this thing is called a logical fallacy called appeal to nature. So we don't really care, okay? And Jordan Hansen, you say it's also not immoral to many, many people. Jordan Hansen, let me ask you, is it moral to slash the throat of a dog for something that you don't need, just because you like it? But be genuine, because if you're not going to be genuine about it, then there's no reason. Lovely voice. Thank you, Mrs. Bucket, if you're talking about my voice. I was born with it. I didn't really practice it. Thoughts on Harry? I don't know what you mean. What happened to Harry? Whew. Still 1, 2, 3, 4 activists. 5 with me. Still pretty good. Hey, you want to try a social experiment? It's pronounced bucket. Like I said, I hate the thought of animals in pain, which is why I love your hearts for animals. But you hate the thoughts of animals in pain, but if you're not vegan, you support it. So you support something you hate when you have readily available options not to. Nobody's forcing you not to be vegan, are they? So how exactly can you justify supporting something that you hate? And Carrie says very well, personal choice isn't valid when a victim is involved. And that's the reality, right? I have the personal choice to go and punch people in the dick. That doesn't mean I should, or that doesn't mean that it is moral for me to go around punching people in the dick. So do I have a choice? Yeah, sure. As I said, just like I have a choice to punch people in the dick. Is it really a choice? I would say no. It's probably an obligation. I have a moral obligation to not cause unnecessary harm to people or to beings. Amandeep Singh says, I am vegetarian. Why are you not vegan, Amandeep? That just means you're supporting animal exploitation as a vegetarian. Do you eat dairy products? Milk, cheese, paneer? Next person is a hypocrite, 100%. Yeah, that's a given. You guys want to try a social experiment? You're taking all my people, man.
They're all lined up on that side.
There's another activist here. You see him? He's sitting there. That's Sohan, this guy here, Sohan. He's taking my people. Him and his handsome curls. Is he also vegan or there for something else? Yes, he's also vegan and an animal rights activist. And he's actually a theoretical physicist, so he's very intelligent. You guys want to try a social experiment? Mrs. Bucket says, you are better looking anyway. You haven't seen him yet. He's very good looking. Actually, to be honest, all the activists that are here today are actually very good looking. We have a bunch of handsome people here. Handsome people defending animals. That's what we should call ourselves. And modest, of course. Picky Wiki says, I hate Scientologists. Well done. I hate religion in general, so. Hey, want to try a social experiment? I'm an anti-theist, so yeah. Oluwali asks, vegan orgy when? No, Oluwali. Not yet. No, we're cool, we're cool. The vegan plant says, you should see me. Oh, I'm sure you're handsome. And it doesn't matter, you know, the beauty of people comes from who they are as people, and who you are as a person. I mean, it is really defined by the actions that you make. And when you choose to exploit or slaughter innocent animals, I wouldn't say you're such a nice person if you choose to do that, especially if you're aware of it. I'm sorry. Like, if you don't know it, you're ignorant, whatever, it is what it is. But if you know it and you actively choose to participate in it, that's not very nice of you. You're not a very nice person. Want to try a social experiment? You guys want to try a social experiment?
Oh, no, sorry. Good luck.
Thank you. The vegan cheese hates me. You don't have to have vegan cheese. I don't have vegan cheese. I used to have vegan cheese, but to be honest, I actually don't eat any saturated. I try to avoid saturated fat as much as possible. It's because saturated fat's not very healthy. You can have all sorts of unsaturated fat, which is arguably the better one, so why would you ever have saturated fat? I don't know. Just as non-sexism, non-racism, and non-ableism are and were not religions, so is non-speciesism. Well done. Picky Wiki says, I prefer normal cheese. Well, normal cheese comes with the exploitation, abuse, and slaughter of innocent cows. So how can you justify that? Is it just because you like it? Okay. Yeah, saturated fat is linked with heart disease, Carrie. Of course, it's not as easy as, you eat some saturated fat. You guys want to try a social experiment? I just ask you some questions, that's it. You being live for my YouTube channel?
Okay, yeah.
What's your name?
Jasper.
Jasper. Nice to meet you. I'm Chip. Are you okay? Oh, sorry. Can you come a little bit closer? Yeah. Okay, perfect. So, do you have any? So my social experiment is about our relations to animals.
Yeah.
Do you have any pet companions or animals that you like?
No, no.
Okay. Then I'll just turn this around. It says animal abuse should be legal.
No.
Why not?
Because it's not good.
It's not good.
Yeah.
Why is it bad to abuse animals?
Yeah, you don't want to hurt a living being.
Okay.
So, yeah, or at least if you don't get any benefits from it.
Oh, what if you get benefits from it? Is that okay?
No, like if you mainly do something for food, then it's okay in my opinion. But
what if I fuck cows for food?
that's not good.
That's not good?
No.
What if I put my hand in the anus of a cow and I then put bull semen in her vagina for food?
I don't know. But,
Is that good?
No, but yeah.
But do you acknowledge that that's what happens to cows? To all cows?
Yeah.
That they
No,
get
yeah,
forcefully impregnated?
That they will do that. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you think that's wrong to do?
Depends in which manner you're doing it.
Well, if you put your hand in the anus of a cow to hold their
that's-
cervix and then
that's,
inject bull semen in their vagina, is that wrong to do?
It doesn't really sound nice. Yeah.
Yeah. And do you think that killing their babies afterwards for food is okay?
I mean, you gotta eat,
But you don't have to eat animals. You
Yeah.
can eat plants or plant-based products, right?
yeah. But I'm done with the conversation.
Okay. I mean, you're free to walk away. Just please be aware that when you buy animal products, those animals are not free to walk away from the choices that you make.
Yeah.
So you force animals into slaughterhouses for something that is essentially optional to you.
Yeah, but food is food for me.
So you could say you could argue the same about killing humans and eating them. Food is food, right? Like,
But,
what morally justifies killing an innocent sentient animal for something that you don't need?
But thank you for the conversation.
Yeah, it's okay. You can run away. Animals don't. Food is food. He got really triggered. I guess I shouldn't have said that whole fucking account. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry, everybody. I get a bit explicit sometimes. Just when he said that, well, if there's some form of benefit, you guys want to try a social experiment? If there's some form of benefit, come on. If there's some benefit, why not? I mean, I benefit from punching a dog to death. There's benefit, of course. Why not justify it? Ridiculous. You guys like that? you like me being a bit tougher on people? At least he walked away and didn't waste your time, says Felix. That's a very good point, yeah. Food is food, said the coward and ran like a bat out of bull. Yeah. To be honest, I'm gonna start using more and ask them to morally justify the choices that they're making, you know? Even in MasterChef was a vegan chef. That's pretty cool. I don't know. It's a good way to do activism, though. Okay, interesting. Jordan Hansen asks, what are you on about? Jordan Hansen, I am here speaking on behalf of animals. I am here. Do you think animals are objects, Jordan Hansen? Or do you think that behind those beautiful eyes that animals have, there is a somebody who wants to live, who has a personality, who has wills and desires, who maybe has social relations? Oh, not you, Lo. Okay, I see what you were asking. Sorry. I thought I saw you before, so yeah. You guys want to try a social experiment?
No thanks.
Okay. Yo, why are you so concerned with others and what they do? Go stop the black culture from killing each other in gangs? Or the Mexican cartels sends random reviews. Oh my god, that was one of the that was such a racist comment, huh? As if white people don't kill themselves in gangs, or as if that was both racist and xenophobic. I'm sure that you're also speciesist. What's your name again? Random Reviews. Please tell me, Mr. Random Reviews, because tell me, do you think exploiting and killing innocent animals for something that you don't need is morally justifiable? This guy like drama, Random Reviews. I see you can't answer questions, Random Reviews. You can only say things that are racist and xenophobic, but you can't really ask questions, huh? Answer questions, I'm sorry. So Random Reviews, tell me, how do you morally justify killing innocent animals for something that you don't need? Benji, I see that you keep timing people out. I hope you're not timing people out just because they're not vegan. Hi.
Hey, my daughter would like to talk to you.
Yeah, sure, that's okay. Are you okay being live on my YouTube channel?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, what's your name?
Ellie.
I'm Chip. Nice to meet you, Ali. So my social experiment is about the relations we have with animals. Do you have an animal that you're fond of or somebody that you like?
I like dogs.
You like dogs?
Yeah.
What is it about dogs that you like?
I like walking liking them because like you can just run around with them.
Okay.
And like, because my friends have loads of them, so we normally just get in bed with them. And I don't know, it's just peaceful to be with them.
Do you think that when you look at a dog, behind those eyes, do you think there's a somebody, or do you think that?
It depends what dog, because some dogs you can look at them and they look really sad, like a human being kind of.
Yeah. Yeah. So there is somebody who feels and has emotions and has wills and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you think all animals are like that?
No, I feel like some are just animals.
Some are just animals.
Yeah.
Like which animals are just animals?
Well, it depends, but I feel like maybe bunnies and like things like that.
Would you be surprised to find out that so this thing that there's a somebody behind our eyes is called sentience, and in fact most of the animals are actually sentient. They have emotions, they feel, they want to have social connections with other animals. Would you be surprised? Did you know that, or is that a surprise for you?
I know a little bit. But
Yeah.
So a little bit of a surprise.
Yeah. So if I were to ask you, are you against animal abuse?
Yeah.
And why is that? Why would you be against animal abuse?
Because I feel like what's the need to experiment and abuse animals that have done nothing to you?
Maybe you get some benefit from it.
It's either way, because like they use to test makeup products and everything like that, which I use, but I still feel like you don't need to test it on animals.
You don't, yeah. So in the absence of need, we can't really justify abusing animals, right?
Yeah.
So then, do you think that for clothing, for food, we're abusing animals for something that we don't need?
Or it kind of depends, because it can be both ways. Because obviously, like when you eat meat, like humans need that to survive.
We don't need
You
meat.
don't need meat to survive, but you need food to survive. So I feel like it can go both ways, because
But again, in the absence of need, right? So if you were to find out that we don't need any animal products to survive and to thrive, whether that's for food or for clothing or for entertainment, whatever it is, or for cosmetics, can we ever morally justify killing animals or exploiting them?
Well, I feel like there's no point in killing animals, but at the same time there is, because obviously I like eating meat and using cosmetics and stuff like that. But I don't know.
But do you think that your liking of food, the pleasure that you get from food, is more important than a whole animal's life?
No, I don't think so, because we don't need to live off meat. We can live off like plants and stuff like that.
Exactly. So then, how can we ever justify taking the life of an animal for something that we want, but not something that we need?
I don't think we can, because like we don't need it.
Exactly.
So it's kind of just, I don't know, rude to animals. I don't know.
Exactly. It's disrespectful towards
Yeah.
them, right? Because if we say we respect animals, we wouldn't ever kill them just because we fancy their flesh or something, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So then, just to put things a little bit into perspective, do you know anything that happens to dairy cows, for example?
Like take their milk, obviously.
Yeah.
Factories and things like that.
Let's assume a small farm. Do you know why a cow produces milk in the first place?
No.
So they're mammals, they're just like us. They produce milk after they have a baby. So farmers, they don't wait until when the cow decides to have a baby, but rather they forcefully impregnate them. I won't describe the procedure to you because you're quite young, but they basically, when the cow is in heat, they say you need to get pregnant even if the cow wants to or not, regardless of that, right? So what do you think happens when the babies are born? What do you think happens to them?
They get taken away.
Exactly, yeah, because they would drink their mother's milk otherwise, right? And we say, hey, this milk needs to go for human consumption. Don't you think that's already disrespectful towards the animals?
Yeah, I don't think that's fair.
Yeah,
Because obviously, like when we're babies, we get to drink our mother's milk. so-
Exactly. Imagine somebody just taking you away from your mother at birth and saying, hey, this milk is because we forcefully impregnated your mother, this milk has to go for us, right? It's a bit messed up. And if the baby is born male, what do you think happens to them? They don't produce milk.
They stay with their mothers.
They get killed.
Oh.
They all get separated, but they get killed if they're male. And if they're female, the same fate as their mother, year over year, forceful impregnation, up until the farmer can no longer impregnate them. And that
Then they
usually
get
happens.
killed.
And they get killed, yeah. And that usually happens around age of 6 or 8. And they can live up to 24, 25 years. So at a fraction of their lifespan, they get killed. Would you say all of this is disrespectful towards animals?
Yeah.
And then do you think we can say we respect animals while simultaneously buying animal products that actually do this kind of stuff to animals?
Well, it depends how you actually get products, because it could be like natural ways, like when there's actually pregnant. I mean, when they actually get naturally pregnant. I feel like that's not as much disrespectful, because.
But they still take away the babies and
Yeah.
kill them, huh?
I feel like there could be a way, but I'm not really sure.
Yeah, but the reason why I mentioned all of that is because there isn't just one thing pointing out towards the disrespect towards animals, but rather there's a multitude of it, right? There's the forceful impregnation, which indeed you can say, well, what if the bull does it on their own, right? But then there's the taking away of the babies. There's the killing of the babies if they're male. There's the killing of the mothers when they can no longer be mothers, right? Like, isn't that all that disrespectful?
Yeah, I feel like an animal, someone shouldn't have to be killed for someone else.
Exactly. So how can we ever justify buying an animal product when somebody will die for us for that? And we don't need it.
Just don't buy it, like.
Exactly.
And then, just don't buy it.
Can I be devil's advocate?
Cause and effect, isn't it?
You're
Yeah.
not allowed to test medicines on humans unless humans sign up to do the experiment. So the only solution that people have is to test the medicines on animals to see if they die.
Yeah.
So
It's pretty sad already in
It
this.
is very sad, but
Yeah.
it's catch-22. What do you do, because the medical profession doesn't allow human testing?
Yeah, and obviously, like in situations like that, I mean, when we have in all the things that we do around the world, right? There is some form of systemic oppression, systemic abuse that we are supporting with our choices.
Yeah.
But I would say that when we're presented with two choices, one that has way more abuse than the other, one that has way more oppression than the other, then we always have a moral obligation to choose the one that has less abuse, less oppression, right?
Agreed.
Yeah, so in that same situation, like, we can't choose how companies choose to do their testing,
Yeah.
but what we can do is that if we find a product that is tested on animals and one that isn't, then we can always choose the one that isn't tested on animals. And the same can be said about clothing, right? We don't need to buy leather, we can buy other
There are
I don't know,
better
materials.
recycled products.
Exactly. And the same can be said about food, right? It's
Yeah.
always that we get stuck with food, but the reality is that if we always have an option to get our nutrition, to get all the things that we need from food, why would we ever choose
But
to put an
are you
animal
ever going
into
to stop
cuisine?
everybody eating meat? And there's always going to be a certain percentage of people that will eat meat.
I
So then
person-
should you not use the leather? Should you not use the skin? Should you throw the skin away?
Fair enough, but I don't choose to I cannot stop anybody, right? What I choose to do is inform people and try to make them make the right choices on their own, because most people would argue they are against animal abuse or animal exploitation or stuff like that, but then when it comes to food, we've been taught one way and we turn a blind eye to it, but we're still supporting it.
What
So-
do you wash your clothes with?
Like detergent that's vegan, but it wasn't very cheap.
Yeah.
So
But
I'm
what
still
do you
looking
put in
now.
your clothes as well as the laundry detergent?
It's
You put
insane.
fabric conditioner in it. What does fabric conditioner have in it?
Yeah, I know there's a thing that has animal product, but I found one that doesn't. Like it's very difficult. Like some things have that, and it's difficult. But I
They
personally.
call it ionizing surfactants, animal fat.
Yeah, I still choose to see it as like, if you're in a situation where you have no alternative, it is what it is. It's fucked up, but it
Yeah.
is what it is. But most of the times we have alternatives. And
Yeah,
all
we
I'm
do.
saying is that why wouldn't we ever choose the alternative?
Yeah.
It's think. Yeah, we have to think.
In the Western world, we're privileged. You go to a third country,
Exactly.
even South America. My older daughter, not this one, is vegan or vegetarian,
Yeah.
depending what she can get, because you just can't buy the products in some countries. So she went traveling in South America, and after 3 days she had to eat meat because there's nothing else.
I haven't been to South America per se. I've been to Southeast Asia. I didn't have any issues being vegan there.
Yeah.
But I would argue, I think a lot of the times, of course, I'm not advocating for anybody to starve to death or to die, right?
Yeah.
All I'm saying is if you have options, choose the right options.
Yeah.
And most of us in the civilized, that would be wrong for me to say civilized, but most of us in Western Europe, in, I don't know, in
choice.
developed countries, we have so many choices.
Yeah.
And because we have so many choices, I think I personally see it as even more of an obligation to choose those, because if we choose those choices can also become available to countries that don't have that many choices, right?
There are certain countries who will never be convinced.
There's certain, the reality is, I think, we just need to reach a critical mass of people not participating in this, and then things can change. Just like in all social movements, like women's rights, like LGBTQ rights, all of it just needs to boil down to a certain percentage, and then it trickles down. The change
keep
happens.
Talking, keep discussing.
That's what we want. Yeah.
It's already changing a lot in the UK. Maybe you used to see
It
one
is.
product, now you have a whole shelf.
I mean, UK is the #1 country to be vegan. Yeah, it's got the most options. Yeah, it's an amazing place. Yeah.
But it's an interesting topic for discussion because it's difficult. You've got a lot of young kids who like to go to McDonald's and eat a burger.
But you have plant-based versions of McDonald's. You have McPlant, right?
Yeah, you do,
Yeah.
But it's difficult to change
And,
people's...
and how you manage keeping bloodlines alive of certain rare breeds of cattle or sheep or whatever. If there's not a demand, then no one will keep the bloodlines going, so then you lose them completely.
I mean, we can have sanctuaries. We don't need to, right?
You can, but they've got to pay. Someone has got to pay for a sanctuary to run, and no
We
one's gonna
already
do
pay for sanctuaries, and you would be surprised to find out that actually we already pay, like, the animal products are anyway heavily subsidized. So I think that even if if we were to turn to a plant-based food system and pay for animals to be to live in extremely well conditions, to get massages every day, I still think we would end up better financially as institutionalized financially. I mean, I still think we would end up in a
The
better
problem
place.
is the big companies that control the meat market will want to control the other market that we create, and then there will be another problem. They'll spray
understand.
chemicals on the plants, and
Western world is capitalist, so
Yeah.
you're gonna...
So I'm not here, like, I understand the world isn't perfect, right? Just like I said, like there's choices we can make left and right. What I'm here strictly speaking is on behalf of animal rights and their lives. I think that obviously a food-based system plant-based food system wouldn't be perfect. There would still be issues to be fixed, but at least we wouldn't be exploiting animals. At least we wouldn't be forcing animals into slaughterhouses. At least we would be, respecting animals in a way. And if we ever killed animals for crop production, we would do it out of need, not out of, I don't know, greed or will. Exactly.
We do eat a lot of plant-based personally because of our older daughter. But when you look at the back of plant-based products, have you seen the list of
chemicals?
But that doesn't mean anything, by the way. That doesn't mean absolutely anything. I'm studying to be a certified nutritionist. Most people, when we see the number of ingredients being a lot or something, we're afraid and we say, oh, it's not natural or something. But something being natural doesn't mean it's healthy, and something being not natural doesn't mean it's unhealthy. Number one, and number two, the stabilizers, the preservatives and all of this, the ones for animal products are the dangerous ones. The ones for plant-based products are not usually dangerous. They're usually just like citric acid or other derivatives.
sulfites.
They're not nitrates or sulfites or stuff that is very detrimental to our colon. Hence why meat is strongly related to colon cancer. Yeah. Because of preservatives and red meat also, not just because of preservatives.
okay, it was really nice to speak to you.
Nice to speak to you. I'll just ask you all three one final question, okay? All three of you. I appreciate. I like an open-minded family. How many more animals should be exploited for you three before you make a change?
That's difficult because if you're looking for a number, there isn't a number for me.
How many do you want? Let's put it this way.
I wouldn't want any animals exploited. But I'm a meat eater, and I know that goes against what you believe in. But
Also, what you believe in.
But I would like to see a brand or something that I can trust, where the animal is being bred and looked after properly and had a really good life before it was slaughtered.
A lot of
Not
them
just produced on a meat factory and pumped full of hormones.
Yeah,
and
but
chemicals.
Dad, a lot of them say they look after the animals when they don't.
That's why I said I need a brand that I can trust.
And
But
also,
you can't really trust anyone.
and also, why is it better if they get slaughtered at a fraction of their lifespan? It's still, for something that you don't need, it's still an injustice, if you ask me.
It's still bad, but at least it means they've lived a good life.
But have you lived a good life?
Or
Would it be fair for
Yeah.
somebody to take your life now just because they like the taste of your flesh?
no, but at least they haven't been killed at birth. Like, I still don't like the fact that they're killed, because obviously they should live until they naturally die. but at least it's not as bad, I feel like, as getting killed at birth.
Obviously, you know, like if I were to put it in a different context, you know, like somebody beating their wife with a lead pipe and then chooses to use a towel to beat their wife, it is better, but it still doesn't meet the threshold of not beating the wife, right? It is better to treat animals nicely before you kill them, but it still doesn't meet the threshold of we're not killing and
That goes
exploiting
back
animals.
to the animal not living at all and not being bred at all.
Yeah.
If there's no demand.
Well, that's okay. That's okay. I would say it's cruel to bring somebody to life only to exploit them and kill them. It's cruel to bring somebody to life for
But if
the
you
sole
don't
purpose
exploit
of killing them.
and they have a happy life, however percentage of life that is,
It's
and
still
then-
wrong to bring somebody to life to kill them. I still think it's wrong.
I'm different to you because I'm not as much of a meat eater.
Yeah.
And we've been to places where you can have really good vegan or vegetarian food. I don't mind. If we had more options, there aren't a lot of options. There are more in the UK, but
Yeah.
still not many. If there were more options, you would eat a lot less.
Good vegetarian
Good
food, yeah.
vegetarian
But you
food
just
all
need
the
one
time.
or two options. You don't need more, right? Like you just need to find those options that work for you. Because the reality is when we go to a supermarket and buy the things that we buy, most of the times we buy kind of the same things, right? It's not like we choose always different things. So we just need to find the replacement. That's how I became vegan. I just replaced the yogurt with soy yogurt, the one that I like.
But soy is another problem, so you're adding to a different problem.
Well, soy isn't really a problem. The problem with the problem with soy is that it's being fed to animals. The problem with soy is that most of deforestation done for soy is done because of the animals. If we didn't do the deforestation for the animals, we would have enough land where we can grow enough soy. That wouldn't be an issue for us.
Yeah.
Until
Like-
there's more humans. And
Until-
there's more humans every year.
Yeah.
So ultimately there would be. You would have
But-
to use that land.
But even if we reach a population of 20 billion, I think there's a calculation, you can look it up. There's studies.
Yeah.
We would still be way better off because the environmental footprint of a vegan person is a quarter of the environmental footprint of a meat eater who eats more than 100 grams of meat per day. So I would say most people who eat meat eat more than 100 grams per day. Yeah, so that's the threshold. And if it goes way more than 100, then it might be even less than a quarter.
Yeah, okay.
But I think it's a question of re-educating people.
Yeah, I think
you
it
need
is.
to start in schools.
Yeah,
which
it
is
We
does need to
do.
start in schools.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we do.
But
So she
either way,
understands the...
either way in schools, most people don't care, don't go to lessons and things like that. It just doesn't sink in for most people.
We need, honestly, like the most people I speak to, the biggest issue people have is I grew up this way. It's hard to change because I grew up this way. And hence when I meet parents, I tell them it's ever the more important that if you have a baby child or whatever, that you teach them plant-based until they make a decision. If a person grows up vegan and then they make a decision to eat meat, it's something else rather than somebody growing up to eat meat and then they do it because it's a habit, right? It's just like religion in a sense. You don't want to force them into a belief system that is not their own, right? You just, and that's kind of how I see it, and it's very important for us to see that.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate you guys
Nice to
stopping
talk
by.
to you.
Let me give you
Thank
some
you.
resources to help you even further, and I recommend you have. I'll give this to you. You have the most important speech you'll ever hear. It's something that all three of you can watch.
Yeah.
It's not gruesome.
Yeah.
I think there's a part or two, but if that happens, it's like a minute or not long. But it's just a really cool speech to watch about what happens to animals. Maybe you don't know about eggs. Maybe you don't know about.
But that's
yeah.
been a big problem in the UK, battery farms.
Yeah,
And
but
we're
it's
going
not
more
just
to-
battery farms though. It's so much more. Like even the biological eggs, even free-range eggs. Just I would argue that it's important to know what you're paying for first of all. So I would just ask you to at least watch that to know what you're paying for. And if you choose that you don't want to be part of any of it, you have several resources there. All of them are free.
Yeah.
It's
Information.
just information, and then you have everything that you
Nice
need.
to meet
Okay.
you.
Thank you.
you
Nice to
very
meet you.
Take care.
Hey, have a good one. Bye. James said, "Love when we can reach the kids who have the biggest hearts." Yeah. Yeah, indeed. Navia says, "Good job. Thank you." Got to go. Thank you for the wonderful outreach. Cheaply vegan, everyone says. Graham Jackson. And to be honest, I actually also have to end because we're ending the event in 5 minutes. And yeah, well, I've been here for almost 3 hours, so that's pretty good. Yeah. Yeah, you know, that's what I meant earlier. Broom says, "Dad's in there. I need mistake." Lovely family, though. Yeah, they were a lovely family. They understood the perspective, but you see, that's what I mean. People understand that, but then the minute that they are faced with the option to change or the need to change, they don't do it. What can you do? But I believe that activism, like what I did today, does get them thinking. I believe that if more people go do activism, if they meet other activists in time, you know, if in 2 weeks these people meet another activist, they will go even further. If another 2 people meet another activist, they might go vegan together. Like I just honestly think you need maybe like 3 or 4 interactions with activists like myself to talk about it. That's it. Daniel Knapper says 4 hours, please. Daniel Knapper, I would love to do 4 hours, but I'm here with other activists, and they're finishing up. I'm also supposed to finishing up, and then we'll do something together, you know. And that's also part of when we meet. That's a beautiful, and that's why I encourage everybody to go into activism and go in groups, because that's the beautiful thing about groups. You meet people that you like, you meet awesome people who share the same values as you, and then you go out there and you share some food together. It's awesome. And yes, Alexandra and I says 12 hours when I'm there next time. Alexandra says, Alexandra and I will do 12 hours live outreach soon. Well, when she's here or when I'm there. So yeah. Thank you so much, everybody, for being here. I hope you have subscribed to my YouTube channel, because I just like seeing that number grow. Nothing else. It doesn't really mean anything else. And I hope if you're not vegan, I hope you learned something from this. You know, we don't need to do this to animals. That's the reality. And I just like to get you a little bit to think, how can we ever morally justify what we do to them? Like, we can't just take the values that have been given to us and say, you know what, these are my values, because maybe they're not. You know, if you're against animal exploitation, against animal abuse, if you're against the horrors that animals go through, if you think it's horrible, if you don't want to see it, what they go through, then maybe you are against it, and maybe you should not support it. So consider that. And hey, I'll put a link in the description. There's no link right now, but I strongly suggest you watch. There's a 3-minute link. I'll put it in the description. It's called 3 minutes video. If you're not vegan, give that a watch. It's 3 minutes out of your time. You might watch it and think, hey, it hasn't impacted me at all. Or you might watch it and think, I need to look a bit more into it, okay? So, you know, do it. You have nothing to lose. 3 minutes of your time. I'll put the link in the description. I'll also put the link to the most important speech you'll ever hear, just like I recommend to everybody. Maybe you want to watch that. But thank you for being here either way. And if you're not vegan, go vegan. Just stop it. If you are vegan, speak up for animals. That's what we need. More people interacting with more non-vegans so that we go to a vegan world. The Vegan Plant says also Dominion is on YouTube. It's a very good one. Yes, Dominion is on YouTube. ATF 15678 Shemp says, eat a steak if you have nothing to lose. It will literally take you less than 3 minutes because it's so tasty. Yeah, eat a plant-based steak. Don't exploit animals. Don't be like ATF 157 Champ, who supports and encourages animal abuse. ATF, please stop being an animal abuser. Thank you so much, everybody, for being here. Yeah, subscribe, like, and I'll see you in the next one. Hit that notification bell to know when I go live next. Because I will go live next, yeah. And maybe we'll go for 4 hours next time, who knows. Thank you for being here. Have an awesome day. And thank you for everybody who supports it. I mean, I think Jackie Boyle sent, I don't know if anybody else sent, but I appreciate you. It's helpful. It helps me, you know, it helps me do this more often. So thank you so much, and have an awesome day, everybody. Have a nice vegan life. And remember, subscribe. And I'll drop the links in the description, everybody, okay?